the fun. We're bringing the thunder. We are Funder. Flesh and blood down under. Whoop, whoop. We've got a returning guest team.
Oh, yes.
But before we get started, this is a call to action. Geez, we only have like 660 subs and our videos get way more views than that. Way more. We've got views on this channel that have over 3,000 views. So please, we don't often ask you, and you better do it. If you haven't already, we love you. We love you all. But please, we'd like the encouragement. We'd love the support. Hit that subscribe button because we want to hit that 1K real quick, team. And we've got a lot planned for the new year, don't we, Fluke?
Also, it's not true. I ask every episode at the end when people are watching at all, which is very bad etiquette. Big plans. Patreon is coming.
More travel.
We'll give you, start saving some pennies for us broke funder. Look, we just want help with the tickets to get overseas. That's what we want. We don't want money. We want to take Funder on the road. Worlds was a big eye-opener. I mean, we got the Professor. There's a good chance we get James White soon.
Yeah.
And we have a lot planned for the new year. There's some big events. We've already had the announcement, I guess the high-level plan for what OP is going to look like in 2023.
We've already started planning.
We have.
And plus, you get to go out and see the fans, right? Like that's the other thing too. They come support you. You get to go see them.
We've already agreed. We care less about playing those big events than recording Thunder right now. Yeah. Now, if we qualify for Worlds, I feel like we'll want to play.
Yeah.
But the focus is go and enjoy the community. And Thunder is a really fun way to enjoy it because you snapshot.
Yeah.
Like our chats with each single one of those people. They're people we hung out with that weekend, etc. Mr. Healy, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me.
Where did you come in from? You were overseas like 3 different countries.
Yeah, so I've just spent the last 3-4 months in Taiwan running Fable distribution out of there, and as a part of that, it's been like going and visiting all the markets we distribute to. So Thailand, Vietnam, Japan very shortly.
I thought you're not allowed to talk about it.
Well, I mean, look, I was in Japan for conversations with partners and stuff, which is
it's all right. This already got cut out of the podcast. No one's seen it.
Yeah, look, edit, cut.
Yes.
But it was a good chance to like see all the different markets and how they work, and like it's kind of crazy. Like I know a lot of retailers have the same problems in different markets, but there's a lot of actual like, markets all work differently. Singapore very saturated, but Thailand. It's even crazy. Like all the stores collaborate and work with each other. I walked into one store and they were running an event, and like the judge that was running the event actually owned another store and was like judging in another.
And that was in Thailand?
Yeah, in Thailand.
Wow.
And so none of the stores.
Is that a cultural thing? You think that's why they collaborate, or what do you?
I'm sure
boil that down to.
I'm sure there's all these listeners from Thailand
typing the answers.
Yeah, like that. Probably listening to this and probably don't think it's the same. But when I was over there, like a lot of the stores collaborate and they actually work with each other. And like they definitely don't do some of the stuff that I've seen in the market where, you know how somebody will just open up a store right next door to another store? Like they don't do that. Like there's like they all consciously think, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to open a store and it's not going to be next to another store, right? So you would think that would be just common sense. But in a lot of markets, they'll just open up a store right next door to them and be like, yeah, cool. We'll just share the customer base or like the player base, which is not healthy for everyone because, competition's good, but when you're like literally dividing communities, sometimes it's not too healthy. And so some markets you see that, but Thailand, they're very collaborative. They work together, especially when it comes to big events. They'll make sure that every store is like kind of working towards promoting that big event, which is crazy if you think about that in your local game store style environment here. So.
What's the player base like in Thailand? Has it been growing in 2022?
Yeah. I think what's happened with Flesh and Blood over there is a lot of like I don't know if you guys I watch it a lot to see where all the competitive players in our region, and we had really good representation at Worlds from Asia, which was really, really good. But like some of the big name players and some of the winners of major events have all come from Thailand. So for such a small population or like small, TCG community, they're taking names and kicking backsides. So, the fact is like a lot of these stores are sponsoring teams to bring people to all these major events. So they'll come out to Singapore, they'll come out to Malaysia. So I'm going to shout out like Tortuga Games, like the owner of that, and those group of guys are, working really hard to promote that Thailand scene overseas. And so like I said, if you see their crew out at a tournament, they're not pushovers, right? So, hopefully they come out to Auckland and come out to the Callings and the Battle Hardens next year, because I'm sure they'll make a name for themselves again.
And you're TOing the Auckland Calling, which is coming up 24th, 25th of February?
Yeah, look, our group, the Fable Events, will be working with Cerberus Games and LSS, of course, to get the calling out there in February. But look, I don't do any of the work. I have all my people do all the work. I just try to make sure it doesn't all explode and just runs as smoothly as
Singapore was
possible.
great. So like the last event I went that Fable ran, you were there.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
your first big event, right?
Yeah. it
Like you
was-
personally for Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, I don't know if I was on the podcast after the event or before it, but a tear rolled down my cheek when I was at that event, because it was a little bit of like nostalgia of like the community really needs this. Like it's fantastic to have all these people together, players, vendors, artists, James White was out there, but it was just something special. Like, I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but like when you're there.
I think the old Magic thing keeps getting repeated to me. Like,
Yeah.
that's what that's the glory days. Now, that's actually specifically what James is trying to do with the OP is
Yeah.
bring back what was good.
But it's like our Disneyland, right? Like it's like when you're on that trip and you go out there with the boys and you're enjoying it, and you go out to the stores and then everybody's practicing the event, and you just go out there and you have so much fun for like the weekend. It's just, you don't want it to end. It was just kind of like, all right, cool. The Sunday was coming up. I'm like, all right, this is all over now. I'm gonna have to find my next one. So
It was really good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Shout out to like even the judge staff. I remember like that draft.
yeah.
Because drafts are hard to run at big events, I feel.
Yes.
Like how they did it, there'd be a table that was slow. They'd put a hand up. The main judge could see them. He'd slow roll the rest of the room till that table caught up. It was very well done. And that was not LSS judges. That was actual like community local judges.
Definitely big shout out to the judges. I know they've probably been rusty for main events, but they were hitting all cylinders for that event. Not only that, we brought out some partners from the US to come give us some feedback on the event as well. So we learned a lot from that event as well. So I think what we want to do is make them bigger and better every single time. And Singapore for us was a huge success. And hopefully, Auckland, once again, we get a good turnout for that. And I think the fans there expect a little bit more than everywhere else, because it is the home of.
But they haven't had that many events. They should just be happy with what they get. Right?
Yeah, but I think the fans there expect it to, when you're at home, when you're in your home ground, and we also want to make sure that, we treat the New Zealand fans, the way they should be treated, which is, with utmost respect, because those are the guys that pioneered the game over there, and I'm sure they're going to want to come out and have a good experience.
There's something like really magical about big events. You've been coming to big events now, John. How many big events have you done? You've been to Worlds, you've been to 2 Pro
Lil
Tours.
Jersey, San Jose.
You've been to Nats, which isn't massive, but it's still a big event. So, like, it's really hard to put into words. I tell people, even people that play the game that have not yet been able to attend a big event, like you just, commented. It is like our Disneyland. Like, I can't express enough, the vibe and the atmosphere when you're in a room with, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of your peers or other people that you may not know, but you're all there for the same thing. You all have something in common, okay? You all have that commonality and you all love the same thing. It's very special. I don't think outside of like maybe attending a big sport event, but a sport event might only go for an hour or two. This you get to enjoy over a whole weekend. So really, if you listen to this pod and you want to set some goals for 2023 and you haven't been able to go to a big event, it should be at the top of your list. It
I feel
really
like
is.
New Zealand as a destination. It's so people at Worlds got to meet James White, but the line was 2-3 hours long. New Zealand's going to be not just James. I think pretty much everyone that works at LSS will come. I've already like MJ's coming. Sam Yang will be there. Like people that are unlikely to travel out, but it'll be a smaller event. Right? It's a smaller country and much further away. So if you're financially able or you've always thought about visiting it, I feel like it's going to be a big event, but it's going to be small enough that you'll get a lot more access, a lot more fun
Yeah, definitely.
I won't miss. I mean, we're close to it, but I'm talking to the Americans. Like we went to the US and France. Like that's crazy trip, jet lag. That's what you have to experience to get to New Zealand. But the opposite, what's happening is you're coming to a smaller country, smaller event, more personable.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, right? Because, like, I know if you're in Australia, look, it's a no-brainer for you. It's literally a couple of hours, like, no difference from going...
Sleep on someone's couch.
Yeah, but, like, no difference from going to Sydney to Melbourne, right? So it's a short trip. But I've been already hit up by people in Europe that want to fly over because it's, like I said, the home of Flesh and Blood. They want to go out and see it in their own backyard. So, look, I'm sure there'll be people travel from overseas, but I think on the same note of, like, big events, it's, like, the first one to, like, cap off 2023. So it's like, hey, might as well get out to
it's also the last event before Outsiders.
Yes.
Like this meta, we're not going to see a major event with Dynasty meta. It's not something no one's talking about, but there's been
that's
no
true.
major Dynasty event.
Yeah.
This will be it.
Yeah, no, you have Indie. You have
what I'm
Indie.
saying when I say big, like all the Pro Tours, whatever, like this is the only, there's 2 or 3 callings, right? 2 callings, a couple of Battle Hardens. That's it.
That's it.
Like this is it. This is if you're enjoying the meta, this is like one of your only chances to play it at a high level.
And people are saying this is one of the best classic constructed metas in the history of the game.
Who's saying that? Phil Mackay?
No, a lot of people saying this is the best. Like everything seems playable.
I feel like there's bans coming. I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
My testing tells me. Oh, man.
all right.
Dash is just out of control.
Hey, play Briar. Dash is an easy win, mate.
Maybe. But yeah, you got to out aggro it, which a lot of decks can't. Like it's anyway. It's have you been? How much do you play like obviously working is working, right? But
yeah, it's funny, right? Like when I worked at Wizards back in the day, it was like I never played any Magic, and then I played more Flesh and Blood when I was there, and then now I work doing distributions. Like I don't play as much as I want to, but when I do get a chance, I just try to mellow out that whole day and just play as much as I can.
What do you play?
So I played Prism CC and obviously got banned. So I'm like, I've been picking up Oldham. And I feel dirty.
You should feel dirty. What the heck?
I definitely feel dirty playing it.
Yeah, so you should.
Only because sometimes I'm like sitting there watching the cards flick off the top of their deck, and it's just like it's getting smaller and smaller, and I'm just sitting there just going, yeah, like I just keep blocking everything, and then and then I just see like their futileness of just like, okay, I can't really beat you anymore. Let's just concede. I'm like, okay.
Have you played an aggro deck in Fab yet?
I played Blitz like Ira, like when I first started. I've been playing some Prism Commoner, and that's super fun as long as you don't run into Brute. Then your day is pretty much over. It's just like, yeah, all right, you got me. Cool. Let's move on to another game.
What are the popular format in Taiwan? Do they play Commoner there?
They play mainly Blitz over there. I think that's probably a reflection of the Asian market in general. They like the quicker format. Plus the cards, obviously the value of cards, so the disposable income they spend on cards. But I think on the flip side too, it's like a lot of like early day Fab was Blitz, so everybody's got it, right?
Yep.
So now they're starting to have to play CC because the big events are all CC. So, the more and more competitive it gets over there, you'll find that like, the communities that play a lot of CC, very competitive community. Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Well, but you sort of need to start in Blitz. Like, because it's, if you're going to run a learn to play, it's hard to run a learn to play in CC.
Of course.
You got a sideboard. Like, it's just easier to go, here's some Ira decks or classic battles. And we ran one recently locally. Like, Blitz is the way. I would, if I was teaching a friend one-on-one, I would want it in CC. Like, if it's just me and a mate, I'd be like, listen, it's going to go for a couple of hours, probably our first game ever, but I'm going to hit you and then you're going to have a chance to hit me back. Blitz because as casual as you want to call it, Blitz is not casual. It's quite cutthroat, and it's very, very, very punishing if you make a mistake. So for a new player, I'd actually rather give him a CC deck and go, look, here's what you're going to do. If you're not sure what to do, block. But then if you see some cards that feel powerful, hit me back. At least they'll like Blitz games can end 20-0 often enough. CC is very unlikely to go 40-0. Very unlikely. And the deck that does it, Kano, already starts on 30, so you never feel...
In my mind, I think a good on-ramping for a new player could be like Ira Welcome deck, Classic Battles, CC, then back to Blitz and Draft.
Yes.
Like, to me, that's not, like heaps of people like not heaps of people, certain people slag off classic battles, but I still think that's a fantastic tool for teaching new people. We've seen it used to success in some of our LGSs with new people to advance them from the IRA deck to something a little bit more deep. And I still think it has its place.
The classic battles, the problem was, which is a fucking crazy problem to happen because it's so dumb. Classic battles got bad rep because it was expensive, right? But this was like the existing population saying that. Every new player I've sat down with, because there's a lot of thought. So there's a James White interview. I can find it and link it below. I'm trying to remember exactly whose channel he did it on. Maybe it was Flakes, where he talked about like, well, the reason we put a titanium bubble in there, it's the blue bubble, blocks for 3, pitches for 3, does nothing else, is so that when you draw it, your choices are binary. You can immediately tell, I can't do anything else but block. And when you play that, it's got armor, it's got defense reaction, defense attack reactions, instance in both sides of the deck. The problem is the existing player base going, well, there's only one glistening and it's 35, but it's actually new player. I haven't heard a single new player whinge about it, which is who it's for to begin with, you know.
100%. This is always a problem. So this is my chief business that I deal with every day, dealing with retailers and trying to educate retailers, especially in Asian markets as well. Is like the product criticism that I get for blitz decks, and the same with like classic battles, is like, oh, well, I can just buy all the singles cheaper than what's in the blitz deck or something like that. That's the number one criticism. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like that. Like the whole point is that when you're onboarding a new customer, and I
friction.
even say, like, but I go all the way to the point of like, all right, when you run an intro game or for the first time for a player, like they don't need to know the technical abilities of the game. Like they don't even really need to understand pitching and stuff like that. If people like really think that in 15 minutes they're going to learn the game perfectly, they're not, right? But what they want to do is have fun and see how fun it will be when they get a chance to play and learn the game. So as long as you pull the imagery out of the game of like, you know, Reinar and Prism, you know, meeting on the battlefield, literally going toe-to-toe, that is the experience that's going to get people engaged. Yeah.
The reason I said friction, there's no friction buying something off the shelf with 2 decks.
100%. And
there's a lot of friction trying to build a deck with singles. Now, if you're an entrenched Magic player or Yu-Gi-Oh player or Pokemon player, and you're used to that, you go, I'll build a deck. You go find the website, download the list, jump on Facebook, buy a few singles. Like if you're capable of doing that, I wouldn't even call you a new player. Like you're not a pure new player, because I was about to say this too from before. The correct format to teach someone is completely dependent on their experience. Like if I play shooting games at a high level on my PC, if you and I are talking, we're like, you used to also play Counter-Strike 1.6. There's a lot of stuff I don't need to explain to you about Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like you already know to shoot at the head. What I got to explain is like, you can do the loadout and right, but I don't need to like go into the fundamentals. All right, no. Don't point at the floor with the crosshair. No, but I'm serious. That's what level are we talking? So someone comes into the game and used to win GPs. You'd be like, all right, look, here's a CC deck with all the legendaries. Let's talk. They understand priority. They understand instance. They understand counter spells. And you can explain that very quickly, translate, we don't have lands. We pitch for resources. Like you can explain, like you get what I mean. There's some people going around winning events in Sydney, in Australia, that literally have to read every one of my cards, and they're beating me anyway because they're fundamentally good card players. That person doesn't need a classic battle. I agree. You don't need to start them with an IRA deck. I agree. But it's actually fun. If you're just trying to show them fun, like if they're very skeptical, like if they haven't committed to get in the game, if you're a store listening, if you don't have a sleeved up classic battle right now, you're an idiot. You sleeve it up, have it in your store.
100%.
People want to play, they come in, hey, they're playing, can we play? You go, look, go, you and me. That's what I did at the Learn to Play. You want Warrior? Perfect. This is what Warrior does. Brute does this. Whatever because they're so starkly different, they will always prefer one or the other. You know? And then it's easy.
But see, that's the idea, right? And so that very first point of contact of making that first purchase, when they purchase that Blitz deck, they've now got a commitment to the game. And so now they get a flavor hit of playing whatever hero it is, whether it be Bolton or Prism or whoever, right? Even though I understand you could probably make the deck up cheaper or whatever, for a retailer, that is a commitment from the player saying that they want to play this game, they want to play this deck. it may not even be the right deck for them the first time because, it might be an aggro deck versus something more control-wise. But at least they get that flavor, right? And the same with classic battles. It's like, okay, well, the best thing about classic battles is it's not even the price point because we can all afford $40. Let's be honest, right?
But if you can't, you shouldn't. Like, card games is going to cost you a lot more than the cost of the classic battle,
Oh, 100%.
Right?
But if you buy that and you really like Dorinthia, the first thing you want to do is put Rhinar in your friend's hands so
Yes.
you can sit there and play the game. So, and once again, you're not going to get like the greatest cards in a starter deck, but the idea it's a starting point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So once they start, playing that deck and they know what's missing and they get feedback from everyone, they'll want to start winning like we all do and start, buying some singles and stuff.
Well,
So-
funnily enough, both of those issues you've raised, LSS has tried to counter. If you buy a Prism deck, you get a young foil Prism, which has never been released anywhere else. Like, still to this day, that card holds pretty much the same value as the pack.
Yeah.
You can easily get $5-10 for that card because it literally has never been printed again.
What are you talking? What product are you talking about?
So the Monarch Blitz decks,
The-
the heroes are foil.
Oh, right.
It's the only way to get 'em.
Is that the only way to get
It's
the
the only
young
way to get
Prism?
them. You want a young Rainbow Foil Bolton, just go buy $10 and you get it. Also, for a
Okay.
while, it was the only place to get Spellfray. Now they've reprinted it, but you couldn't get Spellfray before then. So they already sort of counted that where you can, and the art card, there's Mentors,
yeah.
but there's also the art card in some of the original ones where like Dorinthia is just the full art Dorinthia, like the Marvel version. And the classic battles, Cold Foil Weapon, Cold Foil Hero, both the heroes are completely different to the Rhinar Young in that is a different Cold Foil to the WTR
Yeah, it's
one.
a different art. It's an alt art.
And they did print a new specialization for Dorinthia. People weren't happy with it, but still, like, it's actually not a weak deck. It has one of the best cards you can get. So they did counter that already. Just people complained because, okay, don't know why. The existing player base complained without seeing why this product is very good for you to like. That's what you buy someone for Christmas who isn't in the game. It's a cool looking box, has a crappy paper playmat in it, sure, but you know what you can do? You can give them the box and then you can give them a playmat. Like, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
but what are people expecting? Like a $600 deck
Yeah,
in a
I
classic
know.
Battles box? I'm like,
Here's something I haven't mentioned to either of you. It's not a look. I'm trying. It's not a full announcement, but I'm opening. Like, I have a store, flukeandbox.shop, and I'm putting box breaks and stuff on it. But I'm gonna start doing singles. But the main thing with the singles, I'm going to be doing, if it's skirmish season coming up, I'm gonna go find all the decks people have built and are talking about are going to be good. Build them, list them.
yeah,
No legendary. So you'll hopefully, if we do it right, full power deck.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, hopefully that's $100 for the deck. Because LSS can't do this. They can't every meta release 5 new decks in time for the meta. They just can't.
yeah,
And then at the bottom, it'll have recommended legendaries
yeah.
and the deck list. And hopefully a video deck tag going to, whether it's Tall Timmy's Rhinar list, whether it's Sloop's, right, whatever deck we've built, if it's taken inspiration from a content creator, we'll link to the video so you can go watch the video and how to play it, promoting you. People want to buy the deck rather than go TCG Player or eBay or whatever, especially in Australia. We literally have no one doing this. Be able to just buy the deck and leave the legendaries out, because if you're a new player, try the deck before you buy the legendaries. And if you're an existing player, I'm assuming you have a tunic.
Yep.
So what you need is just a deck built.
Yes.
And
Then they
but
can
that's
tweak
that's
it. Yeah,
but
they can
all LSS can do is release things like classic battles. They can't every set release a whole, because you'll just end up with dead stock that no one buys if
Yeah,
they
of
just
course.
keep releasing.
But I think there's also like a fun nature of like pre-constructed decks. Like I something that I've seen in Asia and a lot of other countries like Taiwan and Singapore is like there are stores that will just build commoner decks because it's so cheap to put together, right? And so you just go to the event and you just buy a random commoner deck and play in the event.
Just play.
Or a blitz deck, right? And you just play. And I'm like, there's some of the most fun events because you know what happens when you like get super power creep at the end of the day and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. We're running at super optimal. It's not like our skill levels are that much different. It's like, okay, cool. It's kind of RNG that kind of gets you there a little bit. But when you're playing you don't even know what the cards are in your deck. It's actually kind of fun. So
Yeah, I tried to do that at Blood Rush, where we'd have like the decks pre-built.
Yeah, yeah.
So someone new comes rather than
Yeah.
them have like. I think why commoner makes sense in some places where you can build a deck for $5.
Yep.
And you're at the same power level in the room, so you're not right.
Yep.
The problem is with skill in Fab, there's a lot more skill than variance.
Of
So
course.
you're not going to win anyway, usually. But the vice versa is the same. It's crazy to me. You go to a store and they don't have a couple of shop decks to go to a new
Yes.
player. Hey, you want to join out? You forgot your deck box?
Yep.
Like, you're the national champion and you forgot your deck box. Here's a deck.
Yes, exactly.
Charge $5 for the rental. I don't care. Triple sleeve it if you're worried about grubby Timmys, and then just give like the amount of stores you go to that run Fab that either don't have singles, which is most of them, but like even the shop owner doesn't have a couple of decks ready. Like how are you promoting your game? Like they leave it to the community, right? It's got to be us doing it, and then the shopkeeper, who LSS is supporting by, like. Sending promos and stuff don't actually have the support for their own.
Not yet. Like, because we know with Magic, like, because it's a game with more pedigree, it's been around for a long time. A lot of the owners, LGS owners, had such a passion for Magic. They built their LGSs off the back of Magic. They had their own Magic decks. You know, they were Magic players. Okay. And I think eventually we'll see that in Fab. The way that I envisage Fab over the next 5 years, I think Fab will be the building block for many LGSs to open up in the future, just like Magic was, for the LGS once upon a time. Like, when have you seen an LGS open up in the last 2 years based on Magic? You know, like, never.
They're more likely to base them off pop figures than...
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't happened. Like, maybe the
pops, you know?
When was the last one? Probably Gamezilla, maybe. It was something like it just doesn't happen anymore. Okay, it just doesn't happen. There's no support. There's no inspiration. There's the list could go on. But I'm hoping that Fab can buck that trend, and maybe stores. You know, we'll see stores in the next few years open up, whether they're online, like what John's alluding to, purely based off Fab, and Fab gives them the springboard to become a big business. Like, you know, you look at your Channel Fireballs, you know, all these other big companies around the world that really just, it was a passion for Magic that made them into these multi-million-dollar businesses. And I think eventually, you know, the Fab well's going to get so deep, so vast, and it's going to provide, you know, so much opportunity for a lot of people that you're going to have people that can create these big businesses from Fab.
Brendan, I know you're busy. No. Did you watch the Hamel Patel episode, Harambe Bazaar?
No.
Something worth watching. Okay. A lot of people giving us very good feedback on that particular. Yeah. He's a single seller. He's a lawyer, I believe. Either he's studying or he's a practicing lawyer.
I should watch it.
Yeah. But he runs Harambe TCG, right? It's just him in his lounge room, by the way.
Sorry, what's his actual name?
Hamel Patel.
And where does the Harambe come from?
I don't know. He'll have to explain it. It's
like no idea. I got no idea.
Sometimes where people make these names from. All right, cool.
Actually, we should have asked him, but we didn't. So what it is, he's like, he's infamous or known because he'll put a sales post up. He's like, Harambe TCG, welcome to the bazaar. But he always has like a funny little quip in there, like it'll be, you know, he'll like do a pun or something Fab related, and then he'll list like literally $50,000 worth of singles under it.
Okay, cool.
Now, basically, the guy, new set comes out, orders 100, 200 cases, just him.
Yeah.
Cracks them while watching TV, sorts them, sells.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who he is.
Yep.
He's running a 7-figure business. Like, he's over $1 million turnover on Fab singles with no brick and mortar store.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty good. Yeah.
But it's not, I don't think it's even, it's crazy that's not being done by stores. So the reason it's interesting for you to watch is this guy goes through like literally what he's doing, how he made, like he's pretty transparent. But funnily enough, he started small, no smaller than the smallest store.
Yeah.
Yet the stores have less work ethic than this guy has on his own.
I can't attest to why, but I can tell you the behavior I've seen is that I think it's been almost like 3 years just prior to the pandemic. Stores used to crack a lot of Magic products specifically, but even Pokemon to a certain degree, and they would have it ready for the standard environment or whatever environment that they were in. And that was, I assume, for retailers at the time, because so many retailers were doing it, and, you know, stores that I know used to go really deep on it. They'd crack like 80 cases or 100 cases, and that was kind of the norm back then. And then I don't know if it's just the pandemic or the cost-benefit analysis that they work out to cracking 80 cases and whether they're selling enough singles, but it's now really cut back to the point where like some stores just not cracking any singles.
Player
right?
base, Brendan.
Yeah.
They don't have the player base to support that.
Yeah,
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, but it's a bit scary that when you don't, because singles is a service, right? Like
Yes.
the idea is that you can't expect a player just to chase boxes and crack through
Because
it.
so this is like, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm 100% putting my money where my mouth is. Like by the end of next year, I'll probably spend over $200,000 on this and see what happens. It's a loop. Shops don't crack boxes. There's friction for new players. They may not join the game. Like if they walk into a store, can't get singles, because I know when I started, if it wasn't for Paul, who I guess even at the time would have had some trust in and recommended a store, there was no way I was buying singles from a store.
Well,
Buying singles on like a Facebook marketplace. So I wanted one stop location. Didn't care how much. I just wanted to know by the end of this conversation, I have a deck and I can play the game. I knew the starter decks weren't good enough. I think the service bit's important. You can't, because if you stop selling because you're not making money, the problem is you also aren't going to grow. You need to run at a loss sometimes, but keep the service.
yeah. So what I've seen, like 100% agree that you're right, because we're all experienced in the game. So us jumping on Card Kingdom or Channel Fireball or whatever it is.
I know the
or
difference
TCG.
between first ads. Like I know what I'm looking at and what I want to buy.
Exactly. But we are so ingrained in the culture and the industry. We know where to go to get that stuff. New players don't, right? And the other thing too is like, it is a commitment to go buy something online for $200-$300 from somewhere that you don't know. So you are going to trust your local game store to steer you in the right direction, plus have a place to offload those cards or buy other cards. So when stores aren't offering that kind of service, it can be painful. I have seen in certain markets, and Taiwan's a perfect example, and I'm going to shout out to Cat's Footprint in Taiwan, is that those stores, I think, are cracking less and less singles, but what they're doing is they're giving their communities an opportunity to sell those singles. So you can walk into a store and they'll just have folders upon folders of cards where it'll be like the Paul folder, and in that Paul folder it'll have all his singles that he wants to unload, and then it'll have the John folder and it'll have all the cards to offload. And the store kind of is that medium to sell it, but they're not taking the risk of having to crack open the singles. And so they've probably combated it to a certain degree, but still, that's one chain in of all of Taiwan.
But it's also, so the problem with like letting people sell singles in your store is you're creating a very big problem in the future when you might want to re-enter it. The game suddenly has a couple of million players.
Yep.
The economy is, a set comes out, the retail's $100 within a few weeks. It's like magic. When it's a good set, it's like, oh, it's creeping up. Which means if you open boxes at cost for $80 as an LGS, there's a lot of profit to be made.
Yeah, definitely.
And Fab, this is the thing. I keep doing the exercise. Brent, Gordon, maths guy. Maths, are we wrong here? Is the EV not fucking insane on some of this product? And we're like, yeah, we can't lose. And I go, what does that mean? He goes, just the one legendary per case, even if it's the shit legendary, and all the Majestics cover the case. Goes, so you're telling me foil rares aren't even in that EV? Goes, that's correct. I go, so we can sell all the foil rares, all the foil commons, all the commons and rares for pure profit. But so here's what I'm trying to say. I genuinely believe this. In Australia, I can't speak for Taiwan or other places. In Australia, they're not doing it because they're not making a lot of money. There's money, but they look at it and go, the EV will probably break 10%. Not worth the effort. But that to me is not quite accurate, because that's also, you don't understand Flesh and Blood, because if you understood Flesh and Blood, you'd know that the EV is only for the current meta. So right now, Toa First Ed's great to open because there's Icelander and Oldham. So you hit a Channel Lake Frigid Alt Art, you might as well have hit a Legendary. It's like literally $200. So that product right now, EV's high. You open and sell that. Now, right now, if you open Everfest and you hit Golden Palms, whatever they're called, you go, well, that's not good. But that's not good now. But there's like, profit and loss is not about now with this stuff. Some of it you have to think as a collector and go, man, I'm going to hold on to like... So my big take, my big speculative investment is the Emperor. The Emperor is selling for 15 Australian dollars. Okay, you know why? Because everyone, talk to all the high-end players around us, okay, man, that thing is cracked in Blitz. Like, it's unbeatable. Well, what happens in the next skirmish season when Emperor starts winning in Asia, in Europe, in the US, in New Zealand? What do you think happens? Emperor's $100 card.
Yeah.
Everyone wants one, but everyone's sold theirs already.
Yes.
And one shop is sitting on 500 of them, right?
Yeah.
But also, it's not hard to make money off a $10, $15 card, right? Because it's only got to jump up to 20 for you to make a lot of money. Jumps up to 100,
It's
you
more
can
liquid.
buy the building you live in. Like, if you have enough of them, right?
Yes.
If it goes up by 10x.
I definitely, you're embodying that. What was that famous historian or that famous historical figure that said, build it and they will come? Where that's like John's embodying that,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
That's essentially your point with singles and stores is, have it there.
But don't try and make money now.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to make all the money now.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But not, I don't think it's the secret sauce entirely to unlocking exponential growth within the game, that if only stores had multitudes of
there's a
singles
lot more
and
to it than
decks,
that,
that
yes.
it was that you're just going to see player bases
No.
explode. Don't get me wrong, like the service is important, but I think there's a lot more to it than that, and I think we should hold our LGS owners with that expectation that if you want to be pursuing fab strongly, whether it's getting events or growing your player base, well, you should, I've made many videos on this, you should have knowledge in the game, you should be passionate about flesh and blood, you should know how to play the game.
You should know what season's coming up.
You should know what season's coming up. You should have some singles, most definitely. Agree with all that, and I do like that.
I think having the singles available is a low. There's 10 things higher on the ladder to grow the game than the singles.
Yeah,
Because like when I meet a new player, they don't have to worry about shit. I add them to the group, Team Salt, welcome, and I said that's where you ask questions. Don't fucking buy anything till you ask us if it's a good deal or not. I don't want you to get sharked.
Yeah.
If I can personally help, I do. But I'm Shatter, actually, our German. We had a learn to play event locally. Yeah. German's fairly new himself. He's not new anymore, but he's been playing in Melbourne. Came up. He's new to our group. So I know German, like he's in the Navy, I believe, Air Force. Not on huge money or anything, right? So I know like when we talk about cards, he really wants to bling out his Prism. And that's an expensive deck to bling out. Even now, it's still. Yeah. So he got the Marvel Soraya. He's like, fuck, man, $550, right?
Yeah.
So I know he's spending money. I see him sit down. So this guy and Dylan was actually in Central yesterday. He's a new player who was at Central playing CC with us, and his girlfriend. His girlfriend really wanted to play Prism. German sits down, pulls out his folder, goes, Arclight Sentinel, Erudition. They're expensive cards, man. I'm watching him going, I know this kid's been selling the cards to buy. Like the only reason he's selling the Erudition is because he just spent $200 on a full art one. But that means he'd want to sell that, right? I'm watching him going. And when she leaves, I go, dude, why are you giving away all that shit for free? He's like, man, you do it all the time. I go, ooh. People are... No, but that's why I don't worry like we can do it. But do you know how much easier it is when the store's doing it? Like when the store is going, look, 20% off because it's your first time ever buying singles here. Like, let's just get you a deck.
Yeah.
Build the deck. It's $500. We're going to do it for $400. It's so much easier because also they will see more people than I do. They're there 7 days a week, 6 days a week. People come in, ask a question. You got stuff on display because that's gonna happen. You're there and you see, you're like, "What game's that?" You should have that sleeved up. You should have decks. You should do it. Like I can't. You can't. Our videos can't. It all helps, but man, I feel like there's still a culture of like the community building the community, and the stores are like, "Oh yeah, you can play here."
Yeah. See, this is the funniest thing. Sorry, I'm gonna bury some people saying
bury.
this, right? Because like.
Name names.
I won't name names because they'll probably listen. This is a get back to them. But like, see, what I'll do is I do a ton of store visits, right? And I'll be honest with you, it really pisses me off sometimes when I walk in because I'm like, within 15 seconds, I can tell you whether this business is run well or not, right? It's just the way it is. Is like, you'll walk in and sorry, I've got my arms crossed because I'm going through all the traumatizing meetings and. Like I'll go in there, right, and sometimes
stinky toilets,
just
overflowing bins, greasy KFC smeared all over the tables.
But even just basic 101 service where I'll like wander around for 20 minutes, and I get it. Maybe I'm in Asia. I look like a white guy that doesn't speak Chinese, but like seriously, I'll wander around for 20 minutes and like nobody will come up and talk to me, right? And whether I drop $2 or $100 in there, right? Like, just the lack of service. But then the other thing too is like when I finally sit down with the owner, it'll be like, cool. So let's talk about business. How's it going, right? Like, how's your Armory events? How is, the Facebook advertising going? And then I get questions like, oh, nobody's turning up to my events. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, that's interesting. Are you doing any learn to play? No. I'm like, okay, cool. Are you putting any Facebook advertising or talking to the community? No. I'm like, does anybody know that your store actually exists here?
This
Like,
event,
that it even exists here? I'm like, oh, but shouldn't the community just be going out there finding stores to go play at random? Like you've got your favorite local game store. Like, do you suddenly just go look up stores that you should randomly go visit? Of course not, right? So like, just sometimes I sit there and I'm like, guys, you need to like just do the fundamentals, right? Just go back to basics, right? And then when you're building your communities too, it's the basics. Run a fun event to begin with. If you run fun events, people will come back. Like, it's just crazy, but you do that, that's probably the first secret sauce to running like any TCG game, whether that be
tell
Flesh and Blood.
people.
Yeah, 100%.
How can this conversation is exactly the same, and you know what I'm talking about. The 3 local stores to me, the ones closest, all do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Where's the fucking players? Only 4 people. I'm like, I'm sorry, mate. It's my fucking job to advertise for you. I'm here.
Yeah.
So you should not be saying that to me.
Yeah, of
the
course.
fuck? They're like, where are your friends? I'm like, where's your ad, dickhead?
Yeah.
I didn't even know the event was here. I only called you yesterday to pick up stock, and you're like, my Armory's tomorrow. And also, why the fuck is it the wrong format?
Yeah.
Why is it Blitz and not CC? It's CC ProQuest, and no one's playing. Like, no one came on Sunday. Do you know it was Nationals on Sunday? No, I didn't know. I'm like, and you want to run Fab events,
100%.
and you didn't know Nationals was on the weekend. So that means you don't follow LSS on Twitter or Facebook.
Correct.
Like, and you're friends with James White and you didn't know. How? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the excuses. But like you said, like we were talking about before, like everyone blaming everyone.
Oh, yeah,
It's
100%.
their job, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's like, man, put the event up. Put a Facebook post in the local group. It's not a lot of work, really.
No.
And put it on the bloody LSS.
That's what I'm saying.
Facebook,
Like, register the
event. When I was, a wee little Timmy, not that long ago, I literally only found places to play the game was on the fabtcg locator.
None of their Facebook groups were saying anything.
No, exactly. If you don't load your events in that locator,
all the new players aren't noticing.
Yeah,
it.
because if you have just watched one Rudy video or one video, you're not plugged into any communities.
Yeah.
So you're just going to go to fleshandblood.com or whatever it is, fabtcg.com, and you're going to go to the locator. You're going to type in your address.
Next event is 80 miles away.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to go, but probably the 4 stores within walking distance are running it, just are too lazy to put the event in.
100%. and this is the funny thing, right, as well, is like, we probably should do a whole video on this, how we
are right now. This is what we're doing.
coaching like local game stores. And I don't like hazing on local game stores because it is a hard job. Trust me, it is not the easiest job.
That's a
out
lot
there.
of moving parts.
Yes,
because we're talking about Fab. I'm aware that most of these stores also have to worry about One Piece, Weiss, Yu-Gi-Oh. I know.
100%. And trust me, we've met all the characters in our community, and they're not always easy to deal with either. But on the flip side, if you make it work, right? And so this is what I say is like sometimes when I walk into these stores within 15 seconds, the conversation with the store is always like whinging, like, oh, where's my community? Why aren't you doing my work for me so that there are 40 people here sitting every weekend? And I just sit there, well, if you're not doing the basics, it's never going to work. But the different conversation with the stores that are super successful, trust me, we don't talk about any of that stuff, right? The one thing they want to do is they just want more opportunity, right?
Yep.
So they'll be...
Can we run a battle harden? Can you help us get 100%, this?
100%. They'll be like, why? Like, I am so successful at what I do. Like, I'm the master of my domain. Give me more, right? And
this is our Grimdark.
Yeah, and they'll want to run a battle harden. They want to run a 150-person event. You know what I mean? Like, they want to like level up, right? And so this is what
level 1 isn't challenging. That's why.
And they'll do whatever. They'll put tables in the bloody car park if they get the events.
I know this for a fact. If this helps anyone listening, maybe you don't have the same contacts, connections. Like, we're obviously lucky to even get to talk to you as someone who's not just in the industry. You're like the GM for a distributor, right?
Yeah.
Running some of the biggest Fab events, maybe even Worlds will end up being a you thing, right?
Yeah, hopefully
and
one day.
you will run it better than the... Anyway, where was I going with this? Locally, yes.
Yeah, events.
Someone contacted James direct.
Yeah.
They talked to me about it.
Yeah.
Talked to James. They're like, They showed me an email chain.
Yeah.
Like, we want to battle hard and give it to us.
Yeah.
Reply was, run more events.
Yeah.
Reply, nah, but like we ran this and that and we've been in the game since alpha. Like, we're entitled. James goes, run more on demands.
Yeah.
So you're running your armory. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You're doing nothing else.
Yes. That
And
is not. Yeah.
They literally got told, well, if you just set up your own event. So I know this happened in the US. Someone put up a 10K event or a 4K event as an on-demand.
Yeah.
They're like, look, it's $70 a ticket. We're going to pool the money. The top 8 are going to get a crap load of cash and prizing. And guess what LSS did? And I don't know if they asked or LSS offered, but let's assume they asked.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is if you're a store, ask.
Yes.
Set up $1,000 tournament.
Yep.
Let LSS, can you send us some... Can you send us top 8 playmats? Can you send us some Cold Fall heroes? I'm pretty sure, knowing the guy who ships this stuff out, they're not. I've seen their storage room.
Yeah.
They will send you some playmats.
See,
if they know you're making the effort, I think they'll send you some top 8 playmats.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to run a learn to play, if you contact LSS, OP at, and you go OP at fabtcg.com, go, guys, we're running a learn to play. Can you send us some support? I'm pretty sure your options are some classic battles free of charge they'll send, or they'll send you some Ira decks.
There's no harm in asking.
No, but I think LSS can't keep track of the 2,000-3,000 stores and their events, right? Yeah. But if you're trying, the success happens.
Yeah. I've got a question because John brought up a good example that you gave about that group in America. Now that from my knowledge, that I don't know, conglomerate of syndicate of people, I believe they're on the West Coast. They don't own a game store. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, they're not game store owners. They were a group of like old MTG friends. I think they had TO experience, they had judges, they had all this. They started doing it independently, and whether they asked or not, I don't know. But they got battle hardened, and maybe they've had
like battle hardened means you get a PTI, right?
Yeah, they've had,
and I think a gold foil.
They have one or two. But my question for you is, Brendan, the reason why I bring this up is because WotC had a hardline rule, right? You couldn't host events, whether it was a pre-release, an F&M, or even a GP that they implemented the policy, unless you had a brick and mortar store. Now, I believe this group of people don't have a brick and mortar, and Flesh and Blood gave them battle hardened. Do you know LSS's policy on running events? Do you need to have a brick and mortar? So could John and I put on a battle harden?
I'm not. I probably should go and find out actually, but I will be honest with you. If, as a distributor, right, in Asia, if a group of people come to me and they're like, "Hey, we want to run this big event. How can you help support us, or even put us in the right direction?" Because I know what the benefit is to my market to run these big events, right? Especially like in Asia, you're not always going to get a calling in your own backyard or necessarily a battle hard in your own backyard. So an example is, I'll shout out the guys in Thailand. They're running an event amongst the stores. But if that wasn't a store-driven event, we would provide the same level of support, because the idea is the fans want to play the game. They want to play at a competitive level. So we will try to support those events the best we can, whether it would be with product, playmats, promos, if we ask LSS, whatever we can do to help support those communities.
Have you inquired about that, John, ever? I don't think you can get armory kits.
Like the way my brain works is doesn't even matter what the answer is. I would go up to my local store, I want to run an event. I'm going to do all the work. You're going to fucking do what I say. And the store owner would be like, yeah, fill my seats. Yep. Like if we went to Chromatics and Andy, we're going to do a Tall Timmy versus, like Team Tall Timmy versus Team Fluke and Box, right? Team Blitz, we're going to get 60 people here. It's whatever, $50, right? Why would Chromatic go no? So suddenly it's Chromatic running the event. Chromatic, we'll send an email to LSS. Chromatic will get the prize support. I don't think any store cares if the community's spearheading this stuff. Yeah, and if you're not allowed to run it as yourself, that's fine. The stores aren't doing it anyway. Find a store, team up with them, go, hey, like you can fit us. Because I've got no issues. It's not even a lie. It's their store. They are brick and mortar. What we need you to do is get us 2 cases of this product, blah, 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 blah. The tickets are this. Like you just do a little A4 business plan and go, this is the event. It's going to net you some profit.
Yeah, of course.
Let us run it.
There's no issue because you're a store champion, right? You're driving
With
the
bums in
community.
seats.
And and once again providing that service to the community of running these higher level competitive events.
If your motivation is to make money from selling tickets yourself, then you should. It would be worth checking. I personally wouldn't care if I made money from that event. If that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to sell tickets for $50 and every ticket is $10 profit, then I wouldn't want to go through an LGS. I'd want to do it myself.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine LSS will say no, if that makes sense. Like, they might not be willing to do the same support as an LGS.
Yeah.
But you won't have a gem account to run the tournament. Right now, the reason I think the answer is no is you have to have a gem account to run tournaments, and you can't get those if you're not registered as a store.
Yeah, I guess the thing for LSS is they want to support the local game store, so they want to run these events through the local game store. But once again, if you don't have one, or these games aren't happening in your community, don't just sit on your hands and whinge and say, well,
Mexico,
I can't get this.
the other places we've heard of, they all got support before they even had gem.
Yeah.
And LSS were supporting. They sent prizing and stuff. Even when there's no distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that like I'm not someone that sees a hurdle and goes, can't do it. LSS said no.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I'll just get the store owner to email you then.
Yeah.
And just get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Find
just
a
make
way.
it happen.
Well, this is funny. Actually, this will bring us on to a really cool topic. Is like LSS. I don't know if you saw in the announcement the amount of battle hardens that they announced for next year. A lot more, like 50 globally, right? And so, you know, I've been talking to a lot of stores. I don't know if I even should be talking about this. I'm sure Trevor's probably going to be like, X-nay on the talking about the battle harden-nay. But like, I think what we want to do too.
Trevor doesn't watch the channel, don't worry.
Oh, well, he probably is now. Somebody's going to hand this to him and say, hey, Trevor, Brett has been talking. No. But I think one of the cool things, and I'm just going to float the idea to your community. So hopefully in the chat, you guys get some talk about this. But I think the idea that we were kind of floating, and maybe some communities will hate it, some will love it, but we want to do some battle hardens in some like really cool tourist locations.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like going on a holiday, bringing your family, you know, you going and playing in the battle harden.
Bahamas.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a perfect example, right? So like, because we can't put a calling in every market, right? Because it just doesn't always justify it. Like the size of the market matters, right? Because when you run about like a calling, you want to have, you know, a certain amount of capacity.
Well, even they have that with the price support. They go like, if it's less than 300 players, like they can't put $100,000 up for 300.
Well, there's
players.
a big difference between a 3-day event and a 1-day.
Yeah,
for
of
starters. Battle Harden's
But
just
the
a
amount of
one-day.
people is very relevant.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing too is like some markets just don't support it, right? Like the market isn't big enough to have like a 300 or 400 person event. When it gets there, then it's time to have one, right? So, you know, it makes sense for us to run Singapore. It makes sense for us to run Taiwan. But at some stage, we're going to have to go to places like Malaysia. We're going to have to go to places like Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia.
Still a holiday destination.
Well, I mean, that's for like the larger callings because you want these in the big cities like Bangkok and you know, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Like you go to the big cities when you bring like that kind of event to town. But, you know, I'm just floating to the community and maybe we'll see what the feedback is. But like, what happens if we ran a battle harden in Bali? You know, the Australian community, you know, they love going to Bali already. Stay in a resort, play some Flesh and Blood, you know, go out to the beach. You know,
how long has it been in this video? 54 minutes on the dot. I'm going to bring up a jiu-jitsu example. The jiu-jitsu retreats work very well.
Yeah.
Because you can do your local retreat, like local camp at your local gym.
Yeah.
$50 entry, blah. When like the ones you see where they literally go to the Bahamas, it's on the beach. They kit out the resort with mats. So you're training. People do this.
They do that with Thai boxing too.
Yeah, they do that with Thai boxing where it's like a luxury. The problem is, and this is something that's gonna like New Zealand's a good take on that.
Yeah,
New Zealand is a tourist destination. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan,
of course,
you're gonna want to go. You want to see Weta Workshop. You follow rugby. Like there's a lot of reasons to go.
Who wouldn't want to eat a rack of lamb ribs with me in New Zealand with your bare hands? All right, seriously.
But that's
do a hungy.
But part of it is like, are you going to come? So if you're and an American listening or someone from the Philippines listening, go, we're never going to get a calling. Well, you understand if we get 1,000 people at the New Zealand calling, then LSS go, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
We were expecting 400.
Yeah.
I guess people really like this tourist.
Yeah.
And I do think LSS, whoever's listening from marketing at LSS, see if they do hey, here's the New Zealand calling.
Yeah.
Here's the full tourist attraction shit for the week before the New Zealand calling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If anything, if they organized it,
Yeah.
where you went with some LSS staff and it's a whole 2-day event before the event, like let's show you Auckland.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And the foods. Do you understand? What I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you went and
Experience
did
New
like a
Zealand.
cruise for me,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
an LSS cruise, like hey, it's $4,000. My accommodation, everything's like entry to the event, everything's paid, but also have a 2-day tour before it. We're gonna go this helicopter. If it's all booked, if they, by the way, you can contract this to a travel agency. You don't even have to do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But if suddenly all they need to do is sell 50 of those, but then that's an extra, then people bring in their family,
Yes.
their wife and kids, right? So also you go to the tourism board for New Zealand, go, this is what we're trying to do. How can you help us? Because a lot of tourism boards will go, wait,
You're bringing
because they just want some awards. If they go, okay, you're probably going to bring in $100K worth of tourism dollars. What we're going to do is, even if all they did is get a tiny tax break or a tiny rebate,
Well,
or even better, if you get like discounts on flights, because that's actually what tourism boards can do is go reduce tax on tickets, which is what they do for sports teams and stuff. Like all of this is doable.
Oh, 100%. Because on that note, because we do that as a part of our, when we run events, we do talk to like the local tourism. They help with the venue and stuff like that. So sometimes you can get a much larger venue at a much more affordable cost because it's like we're bringing all these people
But
from
that's
overseas.
what their job is. Their job is to bring in dollars. Tourism boards are like, they want to make the country look good.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're offering like we're bringing a film crew, like, because New Zealand, LSS will do like the whole content thing.
Yeah, yeah.
If they also did New Zealand ad, like come to New Zealand, play the calling, but it's also come to New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not hard.
100%.
I mean, it's work, but
yeah.
I can see that. And yes, I'm not good at taking holidays.
Yeah.
But if someone like organizes it for me, like I know it's all going to be flesh and blood people.
Yeah.
And we get to relax a couple of days before the tournament. Yeah. And we're at this beach and at this helicopter ride and we go to this museum and we're eating at this famous place.
Yeah.
And James White's going to be there. Like, why wouldn't you fork out some money?
Of course, of course. Well, look, I can't promise that for Auckland calling, but like Auckland event, but like the idea of going to somewhere like Bali or Macau or what's another destination like Phuket, Thailand.
And all these are accessible. Like they're closer than us going to the US.
Yeah.
It's also closer for the US going to Australia. Like they're in the middle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all 6-7 hours, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing too is, like I said, it's a holiday, right? Like you're playing flesh and blood. The family get to come on the trip, or whether you go with your family, maybe it's just a boys' trip, right? But for my Pinoy brothers out there,
I like that because the event
Barca.
itself is not like a back-breaking thing. It's the tickets. Like the entry to the event, $150 is really. I spend that a week on Armories. And packs at the counter. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's the tickets, but then like going to Lille was amazing. Yep. I'm an idiot. I completely forgot there's Disney World and freaking Paris. You know what I mean? Like half the people like brought their girlfriends are like, oh, we're gonna go to Disney World. Like Saint brought his daughter and his wife, right? Yeah. Like, well, man, I didn't even think. Like that could have been an idea to bring my kid and go to Disney World, right? I didn't even. Yeah. I forgot it existed. Like I should have, because you're already there. Yeah. If someone like helps. Someone sets it up. Or at least makes like Fino Black's interview is great because they met this chick on the bus or whatever. Yeah. And then she's from Lille and she wrote him a whole foodie list. Like go to these local places. And he didn't miss. Like he was posting photos. We're like, holy shit, that looks amazing. He got but see if you just do a little bit of that, you go, here's a list of places to eat. Because also like places to eat. If it's actually pushed by LSS somehow. Like, it's part of the event is like a little tourism package. Like, when you're in Auckland, we'd recommend here. You also know you're going to see people you know. Yeah. I don't know. I like that little touches on stuff because I'm already going to be there. Yeah, yeah. More likely to stay a week before or after if someone's offered. Like, this is where you can stay. This is where you can go. These are the events. We've got... You contact Weta Workshop Museum. You go, can we get a discount code? You contact the All Blacks. I think they're very close in Auckland where you can go to the like museum thing.
Yes, they do.
Just get some discount codes. It's not hard to do. Just it's 10 phone calls. You make a spreadsheet. you make it look pretty in Illustrator, and you slap it up.
Yeah, and it improves the experience of the overall event. I mean,
Bali'd be sick. I've never been, and it's gorgeous, right?
Yeah. Well,
suppose it would kind of sex though. That's the problem with Bali.
Yeah, I heard they changed it. Well,
I think they recalled that.
Yeah.
No, they
that
didn't. They
pretty quickly.
redacted it
for tourists.
well, they can't go into a hotel. It's only residents. So if you live there, you have to abide by the religious law.
Yeah, of course.
But if you take your girlfriend to a hotel, you're allowed to have. Imagine that. Imagine having to think about that before going to a beach holiday. Oh, babe, sorry, but separate rooms.
Yeah. Look, you'll be playing in the main event the next day anyway. You're probably going to need your rest.
There's no girls in my life anyway. It's all card playing boys.
So what can you tell us about the call in Auckland as far as like artists or any sort of spectacles going on, any little Scoopy special events? Is there any little things you can drop?
Not at the moment. I mean, for artists, we're in chats with a couple of people, and one of them I'm really hoping we get over the line because they haven't come out this way for a long time. Obviously, the pandemic has played its role, but fingers crossed we can get somebody like Steve Argyle to come over because that would be sick.
But he's been active, and so has Musetti. They've been going to fab events, so
hopefully that comes over the line. But I mean, look, there's a number of like.
I'm assuming Sam and MJ will be there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, look, they're all locals, so yeah, it makes life easy. But yeah, look, we had a really good relationship with Leva. So I mean, at Singapore it was fantastic. But we like to.
Where does she live?
Indonesia.
Okay, it's still not that far.
Yeah. So. I mean, look, we can. There's definitely a lot of artists that love coming out for these events because LSS really does take care of them when they come out. But also, not only that, the fans just love them when they come out. So they,
it's only going to sell you more tickets. Like if people know Levy is there, if they know, Steve Argyle's there, you will. There's again what I just said. I don't think, and you might correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's going to be a 1,000-player event. I think it's unlikely to be.
I think, I don't want to tell fans not to go out and get your tickets straight away, but I'm pretty sure they sold out last time, so it was very quick to sell out.
But it's New Zealand too, so they're locally. Yeah, there's only so many, couple of hundred people locally is the max.
Yeah, correct.
So we can do it. Let's get 1,000.
No. I'm saying it in a good way. Like if we get to 1,000, I'd love that. I'm saying. If you're coming, your chances are not waiting for 3-4 hours to see an artist. That's what I'm saying. It's like Singapore. Also, let me put it this way. Singapore, no one had to fucking wait for hours because everything was very smooth.
You're not going to wait 5 hours to see James White.
No.
Like the world.
That's what I'm saying. That's
a good point. That's a very good point.
Even if there's 1,000 people, you guys run a better event than fucking Channel 5. But when it comes to registration tickets, it's all smoother. Yeah. Because you guys started round one before you registered everyone at the door with the playmen and stuff, so you didn't have this massive queue. Even the layout, the artists where they were at Singapore made a lot of sense. Rather than you got to go all the way to the edge, it was very good.
Yeah,
but again, not going to be. I don't think a 4-hour wait to see James in New Zealand.
And no doubt, I have faith that James will probably have something
special,
exclusive or special for this calling, in his backyard. Yep. It's been a long lockdown. I'm sure he'll want to celebrate. Remember you spoke on your video a while ago on your channel, John. You interviewed old mate down from Midian Gaming about when he was at that one of the call-ins in New Zealand that had the Street Fighter smash the car. Do you reckon they're going to have something funny like that again? Some weird...
Well, if they don't... we talked about this over lunch. Maybe you should...
That would be
Paul
cool.
and I are in discussions now, and we're trying to maybe set up our own little side event, and hopefully LSS will advertise and say, yes, you can. We're trying.
Yeah.
But it's something to push.
And they won't. No one will beat us.
Here's what I'm saying: if they have a mini preview of PVE, if they pull out some proxy cards from the testing, cards that they know they're never going to publish, but you can go play with some pretty broken, crazy cards from the because we're in New Zealand, if suddenly you got Jason Chung going, the way I wanted Wizard to be, and he's got all these banned cards that are never going to see the light of day, but you can play a game with them.
Yeah.
As if you're that stuff's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's also very hard to do anywhere but New Zealand because the office is right there. They can come up with whatever they want.
Exactly. I think the timing probably works out for us pretty well too because we're only a month away from outsiders when the call.
I mean, there'll probably be
yeah,
previews.
some outsider spoilers. That's another. Ooh,
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure.
if James wants to repeat what he did at Worlds, he might end up having a whole stack of outsiders playmats he's signing that you can only get. I didn't even get one.
Neither did I. I'm too busy.
Well, we didn't have 4 hours to wait, did we?
No, it was just funder, funder.
But
Yeah.
on that note of James, but he's a machine, bro. Like, have you? You
Yeah,
would have seen him at
Oh,
Worlds.
yeah.
When he was at Singapore, he was like going from 9 o'clock all the way through to the end of the
See,
day. And I
like,
was like, geez.
I don't like it. Like, I haven't told him this, but I would recommend against it. Problem is setting that kind of expectation of like, I'll stand on my feet for 8 hours for the fans.
It's the first
No.
Worlds. It's the first
But
Worlds.
we said that about the first calling and then the second calling and then Lil. Like, he just does it. But what I'm saying is, here's what you don't want, right? Because no one, like,
I don't think anyone expects that.
no one's immunity will last.
I know.
But also, you can go where, because the fan expectation is that, and they'll mob you every time you stop. Eventually, like, there's a lot of celebrities, and he is a celebrity at his own events, that don't go to events anymore, or they don't go to specific places anymore because they know it's just pure and utter work. Now, I know he derives joy out of it, but you can't, like, being on your feet. Like, what I'm saying is, he doesn't walk around with an assistant. He doesn't
have handlers or security or
like you're gonna sign playmats, sign them, right? You want to do meet and greet with fans, do it. And I know this sounds like people are gonna fucking hate me for this, but if you're not even charging, like, the reason celebrities charge for meet and greets is not to rip off their customers, it's to limit it to 50 people, so that the event can run. But you got James who, I know if James had his way, he would be watching Worlds. Does it make sense? He would be watching the game.
But he does watch it at the same time. It's funny when he was
I know he'll have his phone. I know, but it's like, I'm a fan, right? Lucky for me, I have a relationship with James, or I can talk to him. At these events, I know I just leave him alone, because if I also take 5 minutes and you take 5 minutes, we all take 5 minutes, he's not enjoying the event. Like, I know he enjoys talking to us. I'm not saying he doesn't. He's never going to tell you he doesn't, but I feel like the burnout of doing 10 events like that and eventually going
100%. Yeah, like I said, he was a machine at Singapore. He had time for everyone, signed as much stuff as he could, tried to spend as much time, absorbing the event as much as time with the fans. But I will say, I really commend him for this, because I know what it means to really, like, spend even that 2-3 minutes with a fan, to really, like, thank them for their time and playing the game. You just got to imagine when you were a kid and you saw, like, your favorite sporting athletes, those are memories in 20, 30 years' time that you're going to be saying to your kids, where it's going to be like, hey, you know who I met? James White. This game that we're built on this is his creation 20 years from now. And look at, like, what he's created.
I think, like, I'll give you a specific example of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know.
Man, you'll be in line, and then there'll be one guy behind you.
Yeah.
And he's holding, like, playmats like this.
Yeah.
And his friends will come over and go, can you get this sign, this sign?
Yeah, of course.
And they want to go fucking flip him. Like, what I'm saying is, he should just have, like, go, no more signing. Like, just you can come chat to me, take a photo.
Yep.
Or, like, Sam Yang signs one thing, writes your name down, refuses to sign again the whole event. Like, I'm saying, you're right. The fan service, talking, shaking a hand, taking a photo, that's one thing.
Definitely.
Signing, great people want, like, listen, there's a lot of people that will never sell their signed hero card. I understand. And then you got the opposite, where it's like, the day after Worlds, it's like, oh, signed playmat, $700. It's like, I don't care, but I don't want James wasting his time for people to try and make a couple of, like, just turn that shit off. Well, like, spend time with the fans.
Well, it's good feedback. I think for us as the guys that run the event and manage the event, that's good feedback for us, because what we can probably do is just kind of say, hey, like, maximum 2 signatures per person, right?
But so what I'm saying is, he just never has an assistant.
Yeah.
So he's not like, he's not a rude guy.
Okay.
I don't think he's the type of guy to go fuck off with that 100 play. Like, I'm sure he doesn't go sign all of them.
What we're doing?
But do you get what I mean? Like,
what we're doing now, audience, is I need a volunteer for Auckland Calling.
I'll do it.
To be his
I'll hang
assistant.
out with James all day. You and I can hang out with James all day.
So what he needs is he needs a bodyguard
Get
to make
back,
sure.
you filthy Timmies!
Wash your hands.
He needs
What's you need the Gandalf's staff with the
Thou shalt
Thou
not pass.
shalt pass.
So all right, so he needs to limit his signatures, 5 minutes per fan, and then somebody needs to grab
What do you
his
mean?
lunch.
Man, 5 minutes is a lot
Okay,
of time.
maybe not
but
5.
you get what I like.
Yeah.
Listen, someone, and I know there were Channel 5
Yeah.
or stuff helping him at Worlds.
Yeah.
But it's 100% should not be more than one item. Also, if you're lining up and getting a signed playmat, that should be it, man.
Yeah.
Put your fucking cards out. Like, it's also, to me, I don't know. I'm raised different. I find it so disrespectful to, like,
Give him 100 things to sign.
it's different at the artist where I'm paying $10 so they want as many as possible.
Yeah.
Man, if you got some time with James White, fucking shake his hand, look
Yeah.
him in the eye. Whatever you want to tell him, whatever's been like, whatever you would tell the creator of the game, man, I was depressed in this game. Whatever you want to tell him, tell him. Even if you want to tell him, man, Starver was shit, don't fucking do that again. Say it, run, say it. He will take it well.
Yeah.
Honestly, he takes feedback. He'll take it. Pulling out 20 things, you're not even looking at the man.
Okay.
You may never meet him again in your life, and you're like, oh yeah, this is for Frank, this is for Bobby, this is for Timmy, this is for Sal. Fuck off. Like, all
Was
you're
there a
doing
lot of
is-
that going on?
Man,
Was there? I don't know.
look
I
at
wasn't
the
over
trade
there.
pages the day after.
Well,
It's like, what a waste of his time, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say he's a good sport because he signed
a
a whole
good
bunch.
sport,
Yeah,
yes.
he signed a whole bunch of stuff for the judges. So the judges did get a whole
Yes.
bunch of stuff together at Singapore, and they got him to sign it. But I do get what
no,
you're
he's
saying.
a good guy. I'm not saying stop. I'm saying you need to also look after yourself.
Okay,
Like, I want him to look after himself for the event's sake
yeah.
because I want to see him at every event. I want him to go, you know what? Like, I love going to events. I feel like if you're stuck on your feet signing,
Yeah.
I know a lot of sports
wears.
celebrities, a lot of music, they stop doing it because it's like, it just ruins it.
Yeah,
Like,
eventually it would be James going to all the events he can, to like every second, to eventually it'll be a once a year thing. Eventually. But that's the power of being an early adopter. And I tell you all out there to get to these events especially in the first 5 years.
Yes.
Because it is part of the...
that's why we went to Jersey.
Exactly.
It's
It's
you have to go.
part of the...
And our friends that didn't go all said the same thing. We should have gone. Should have sold that one cold foil I have from WTR, paid for a ticket and gone. You can't replicate that experience.
It's part of the privilege of being an early adopter in something because you get access. It's just like if you were like deep into Apple way back in the day, you probably could have gone to these Apple meetings or Amazon meetings in freaking Bezos's garage, and you could have probably spoke to the guy when he first launched within the first 2 years.
You could have convinced him to sell you some shares.
But again, but things change 15 years down the track, and I can tell you right now, in 15 years' time, you're probably not going to see James White at every single event for 8 hours a day. It's just not going to happen. So
dude, if that
relish
think about it
relish
this
in
way.
it now.
I don't know what LSS is worth right now, but it's worth a lot. I can't imagine if on the trajectory they're going in 10 years, like what did they have 6,000% growth for the 3 years?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, well let's say that in 10 years the company's worth just double, triple what it's worth now. Just having double the staff, an extra set per year. He's working on a Netflix show. They're working on a novel.
Yeah.
Right? He's got to fucking talk to Chris Hemsworth, who's playing in an act. You know what I mean? Like,
Henry Clavell's a free agent, isn't he?
no, he's doing Warhammer. Got announced today. It's 100%.
Oh, shit. Send me the link.
Live action Warhammer.
Fuck yes.
But
So
he's not doing Superman or Witcher anymore. I'm sure they can find him
Look,
for something.
I-
Really?
Flesh
He's
and
doing
Blood.
So,
live
you know
action Warhammer? Is that actually happening?
It's signed. Amazon. Yeah.
Damn.
That's why he's. So I
Oh.
think
I think he's a producer. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'll be.
No,
in it.
he'll be in it, but he's producing or something. Yeah.
Please
So
tell me
I
it's
think
the
what's
Horace
happened
Harris
is
series.
he was. Remember the Superman mustache controversy? Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
Because
when
it
he
was
did-
Witcher clashing.
Yeah, and he.
So I believe the new contract said he can't because Witcher he's got a contract with facial hair.
Yeah.
Superman he has a contract without. That's literally probably how simple this shit is, and you can't shave it.
Yep.
Film for 6 weeks, grow it to film. You can't.
Yeah.
So what happened first? He got replaced in Witcher because I think Superman's much bigger budget, right? And bigger for your career.
Yeah.
Although he's
Oh,
amazing.
I don't know about that.
No, bigger for your career, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Internationally,
Superman.
yes.
Oh,
But
no,
Witcher,
he-
Witcher for me is much. I'd
But
much rather
dude,
watch.
no,
it.
I don't think about it. I think he got a cult following through Witcher, not through Superman.
No, but it doesn't matter. Superman's Superman. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
I know. I'm not saying
It's
Superman.
like the corporate
Superman,
job you
but
have
I'm-
in your resume.
I'm saying for his
versus-
own personal fan base grew
I'm
a
not
lot
disagreeing.
more
I love
with
him in Witcher. Like, if I had to pick right now, I just want him in Witcher because I'm not gonna watch. I don't think I'll watch the show with Liam Hemsworth in it.
I just want to make sure I'm not the first one. You know, he's not doing it anymore.
No. So this is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what I think happened is he had to pull out a Superman. Sorry, had to pull out a Witcher because of his Superman contract. And remember, like you and I talk about one movie thing. Usually when you have a Warner Brothers or Sony deal, it's not one movie. It's like 100 mil for 3 movies. Like that's what I mean. Bigger. Witcher is a TV series. We're talking cinema's always bigger.
Yeah.
So he's pulled out a Witcher to do Superman. Yeah. But then this Warhammer things come up and it clashes. And he's a fan and he's a big Warhammer head. Like he's a big nerd actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's pulled out a
All
Superman
right, let's
to do
send him
Warhammer.
let's send him a Flesh and Blood appreciation kit, a gift pack. Let's make it happen. What's he from England? Push the point. Get us his address.
Get your shit
Hamish,
together, push the
Simon,
point.
Young Trip. Fucking knock on his door.
You know, this is a trick I used to have in sales. How I'd get in the door with try and meet a big wig and couldn't. Yeah. There was a lady. She owned a fucking building company, and I wanted to get solar on every house she built. She fucking couldn't get in the door. You know what I did? I bought a $600 flower bouquet. Just put my number on it and got it delivered. Yeah. Got a phone call. Yeah. And I explained this to Chris Bewley. He was probably the wrong person at the time. I don't think he could have done it himself. I'm like, the way you get these celebrities, if you put together like a custom, big, fancy leather box, they open it, law book, some decks, beautiful cards, cold foil. Like if you go, you curate. You don't you're not sending them bullshit. You write a hand letter. But what's funny is I get that shit from James. He sends us Merry Christmas some socks, right? Yeah. But if you go high end, like what they did with Aoki, but that was silly because Aoki's like jumps around any card game. Like he's doing a lot for money, not necessarily for fandom. But if you go to someone like Cavill, who's like an actual fan, a nerd,
100%,
who'll read the law book. You don't need him to share. You don't ask him to share. You just send him a gift. But if what I'm saying is, if it's fancy and nice enough, you do get a shout out and a response. So if you just
I'll throw it. A perfect example of what you're saying, right? Is I'm a huge follower of Gary Vee. So people out there, if you don't follow him, check out Gary Vee. But you just personalize it a little bit, right?
Yes.
So if Henry Cavill's like a huge Manchester United fan or whatever, just send him a Cavill on the back of a jersey. Hey, you know, if you're a fan of card games, check out our game, and then.
Do you know what I would do? Yeah. Volkanovski, the MMA fighter. Yeah. He's from Wollongong.
Okay. Yeah.
Brandon was telling us that the owner of Grimdark that anything dwarf related, he's in. If Fab ever have a dwarf, it'd be very easy to get him in the game. Dwarf character, like the belittle minnowism. That's an actual character, like a dwarf warrior. He'd be in, right? He's a short guy with a lot of power, like. Here's what you do. Yeah. The guy's a Warhammer fan. Yeah. What you do is, what's the most collectible, rare, old school shit for Warhammer? Is it a edition 1 of the book? Oh, man. Do you know what it's like? Is Horus Heresy? Like, you hear that? Is that the original story? Is that what it is?
I'm sure if you
what
wanted,
I'm saying is,
you go deep
if you go dig and you find a mint, never opened copy of their law book from year 1, it's a couple of $100, couple of $1,000. You buy it. And you put some flesh and blood stuff with it, and you go, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not hard to do. You can look on his Wikipedia and know what he likes. But you can also, all these guys have assistants. You message the assistant, go, we want to send him a gift. What does he like? But because publicly, if you're listening to his interviews, a D&D player, he loves Warhammer, like big Warhammer. It's not hard to send him. Like you get like, you know, the armies that win, like they win on whatever the art contest, the painting. You go buy one of those. It's not hard to do to get someone's attention, but if you do that to 10, 50, 100 celebs, like Post Malone, we know he plays Magic. Yeah. Why haven't... just make him... You know the Alan Hale's daughter, the hero card, Beatrice? If you made a Post Malone hero card, the Rudy one, you know, it's not a lot of resources. You get proper art, all the tattoos. You find out what he likes playing in Magic. Is it aggro, whatever. You build, like, it's a warrior, so you build him his own 101 custom deck. You cold foil it. You send it. The guy's going to talk about it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I love how we love him as the fandom. And then we're like, this is how we convert him over. I reckon what we do is we just kidnap him.
Post Malone?
No. Henry Cavill. Yeah. Let's just kidnap him. We'll convince him.
I think is like anyone who's a gamer at heart.
Yeah, of course.
Will see that type of kit and will immediately just have a gamer moment. Yeah. They're not the celebrity millionaire. Like, that's not how they see it. The reason Rudy supported Flesh and Blood, he's a gamer. Like, at the end of the day, he talked to James on the phone and went, oh, you're like me. Like, Magic, nostalgia. We're from the same era. The minute you make it relatable, it's not hard to get to the point of let's play a game
Yeah.
or hey, why don't you buy some product? Like these, it's such a missed opportunity because the game's so fucking good.
Yes.
And even the lore is very good. Like some of these people are very much role players. Like
One counter thing though, I like that. I'd love to, if we could get Henry on board, send him something, it'd be amazing. But I think that's something that has to be very targeted and very because it can be on the reason why I say it can get on the nose.
It has to be authentic.
It has to be authentic because gamers can sniff that bullshit. Like fans, I know fans could get very salty if they see people, want to be celebs, whether it's Steve Aoki or whomever, opening up stuff. Oh, yay. And then you never see them. They don't care, toss it, and they're just like, fuck, why is LSS wasting all this stuff on these celebs when they could be encouraging our own people? So, yeah, I think I'd love to see it, but you got to be smart with it. You can't just get the Uzi out and just start shooting them all down,
I think we're all just fans of seeing Henry Cavill in some kind of live action flesh
Oh,
and
bro.
blood.
My missus, the tan princess, if Henry Cavill, honestly, she's obsessed with him, right? I'm telling you right now, my missus is obsessed with Henry big time.
So who does Henry play though? Which character so far?
he could be Bravo.
Bravo?
Big guy.
Easily,
Yeah,
Bravo.
he could cosplay Bravo.
Okay.
Is he? I don't know if he's angry enough to be Rhino in green paint. I don't think so.
He's built.
He's built.
He could be star of the show. He could be show. He
Is
could.
the Rock Rhino? Who's Rhino?
Rock would be all right, actually.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Holland's got to go in there. He's another A-lister. And we mentioned Chris Hemsworth
Well,
before.
did you see what happened at Worlds? I don't watch the show, so the guy's name escapes me. He even has a YouTube channel related to Fab now. The Karate Kid, what's it called? What's the show?
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, what's the kid's name that
Hawk.
came to Worlds?
I forget his name.
Oh,
Hawk.
yeah. The guy that plays
he's got
Hawk.
he's got a YouTube channel
Yeah.
with his couple of mates.
Oh,
Right.
you got to have him in.
He was sick.
No, but
meeting him. We met him at
look,
Worlds.
That was organic, right?
Yeah.
The guy just came. He actually already knew Unsealed, like he watches the box breaks.
Okay,
He just turned up. No one was expecting him.
Yeah, dude.
But look, I understand that it can be on the nose, but if it's genuine, if it's not your marketing team, just like shotgun approach.
Yeah.
James White's sending you something. It includes an invite to the event that's local to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I know at Worlds, was it Worlds or Jersey? I remember there were some Magic celebs like who weren't. They were just with lanyards getting shown around by LSS stuff. It's not hard to get like a celeb
Of course.
at your event. You invite them, you offer them the VIP treatment, you offer them a tour, a little bit of play. Come meet some of our pro players. You get someone like Hayden or even Michael Hamilton now, who's going to give you a little bit of a learn to play, like with the world chair. Like, do you know, like this stuff's not hard.
That'd be cool. Learn to play with Michael Hamilton.
Yeah, but
how good would that be?
Yeah.
that'd be great in an event.
And you don't
actually.
have to. You don't.
Learn
What I'm
to
saying
play
is, you
with
don't have to
Michael Hamilton.
advertise it. You don't have to make it a big hoo ha. Like we're having this person. No, you just what you got to do is if there's one person like because they already do it, they'll send packs. They'll send a box. They'll send a spoiler to people that don't really play or have a box. But it's one celeb with 50 million people that watch his shit. If he goes, I'm at World Champ. Do you know what I mean? That's how you. That's what Magic is now. Magic grew a lot off this stuff because they didn't force it, but there's people that play that also have like a sports reach or a movie reach. Like Post Malone's been like showcased a lot of Fab in Magic content. No one forced it.
No, I know where they got it from. So Magic didn't originally use celebrity.
Yeah, they
D&D
never
did. D&D was the big one, right?
Yes.
So like you would have Vin Diesel, these people that would just come out of the woodworks. You know, like the Giant from WWE and all these people would just come out of the woodworks and be like, dude.
A lot of actors love D&D, actually.
These actors would come out of the woodworks and they'd be like, dude, I'm old school D&D. I'm like flushed in the toilet D&D kid, like super nerd that like plays this stuff with my friends. And they're like, yeah, I'm old school D&D. And then I think Wizards have kind of realized, I'm like, shit, man, there's a formula here, right? Like, and then I remember what's his name? Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep.
Like, literally pulled out his old school binder of like, you know, original Magic cards.
Who's that?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
What's he an actor in?
I mean, he's hitting heaps
I
of
can
stuff.
picture him. He's huge
Yeah,
celeb.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Like rom-coms and stuff, right?
I'm just trying to think of what like.
Or is he the guy in
I'm bad with names, so.
Joseph-
But he's an actor, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
A-list, yeah.
yeah. So he was so in Batman, he was the police officer that was almost like the Robin.
Yeah.
Like that was helping out Batman and Batman
Yeah,
Returns.
boyish, good looks kind of guy,
Yes.
yeah.
What else was he in? He was in heaps of good stuff. He
That
was in Inception.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Yeah,
the
okay, I
movie,
know
yes,
who
he
you're
was
talking
in
about.
Inception, yeah.
So when did he make a splash in Magic? When did this happen?
Yeah, like a few years back, he was like on IGN or something, and then he was talking about like how when he was a kid he played Magic. I'm like, dude, there's all these people that play
this
these
is the
games.
stuff that makes me want to email James and go, all right, mate, I'm going to move to New Zealand for a couple of years. Just let me open some doors.
Yeah.
Just let me just weasel my way. I'm good at that shit.
Oh.
Find someone's assistant.
Go after
say
that
the right
cheddar.
things.
Yeah,
But it's not just money. It's like, but also I am aware because when I did talk to James about PVE and
Yeah.
the casual state of the
Yeah.
game, which sort of doesn't exist right now. UPF isn't huge. No PVE yet. PVE is gonna be like D&D
Yeah.
in a way. You need those products out and stuff because that's the stuff you can send to a celeb
No, of course.
who will just play with his friends
Yep.
or potentially might turn up to a store and try because it's not, oh, look, I beat Hendrik. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not one-on-one combat is not everyone's forte.
No, of course not. But
You want to talk about PVE?
yeah.
Last time was it last Thursday?
I thought you, out of all the people, I actually thought you'd be the most worried about it. Because in the sense that, like, Commander is your enemy.
Commander's my enemy for a couple of reasons, Brendan.
Yeah.
A, because I just think of it like a board game.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I want that experience, I'd rather play a board game. Secondly, it's not so much that Commander pissed me off because I remember EDH
Yeah.
way back when. You know, it was a thing that judges and TOs and maybe the odd player would pass the time in between a tournament. The thing that pisses me off about Commander is not the Commander community. People take that the wrong way with me.
No.
It's that WotC destroyed other formats
Yes.
at Commander's expense.
Yes.
I saw Draft get destroyed. I saw Standard get destroyed because they were pumping up this Commander because it had more money in it.
correct, yeah.
And hell, I don't want to go too deep here, but you had a lot of the reserve list holders pumping Commander.
Yep.
My mate Floppy Taco in particular. Why do you think reserve list cards
Yeah.
went up so much? Because an internal format, Commander is an eternal format. A lot of people, and they play a lot of reserve cards. People always say it's about rarity. No, sure it is.
Players
It's
still
about
play a big part.
playability. The reserve list started pumping when Commander started pumping. Another topic just people don't talk about, and it's fucking blatant to see. So PvE is totally different, in my opinion.
Also, I trust James. So James is right now
Yep.
$1 million a year. Again, $1 million a year. Here's our OP program for the whole. If anything, they can't fucking tell us when the events are, but they know they're going to spend the money.
Yeah,
They're clearly LSS, organized play, competitive play, best in the world is going to be rich this year. Like Michael Hamilton's made life-changing money this year on Fab, and he probably will next year too, right? And this is still year 2 of organized play. I can't imagine what 10 years looks like. Maybe it's $1 million prize pool for the winner. How sick would that be? I trust James to not. I don't think you'll ever get it because there's no shareholders. James is a competitive player at heart. The devs are competitive players. They know PvE. If they get 1,000 people in, you'll get 2, 3, 4 wanting to eventually, like, it's the grassroots.
Yeah, PvE, it's co-op.
Yeah.
It's completely different to Commander. Commander's like,
But if you learn the
multiplayer.
mechanics that way,
Yeah, it's
you might be
co-op.
likely to go play a tournament because you're like, I understand the game.
And there's no politics involved. There's no board game bullshit. It's you and your mates trying to optimize to pump the shit out of this boss dungeon. So getting back to it, last Thursday, I was at an LGS and they had every single one of the customers had every single World of Warcraft PvE box. And there was 4 of us there. And he's like, hey, have you guys ever played this? I'm like, no, I've never played it in my life. He pulled it out. We sat down. We actually played it. We played the first one, which is meant to be the easier one. Molten Core or Lava Burst, whatever the fuck it's called. We played it, and oh shit, it was fun. It was actually fun.
I did a box
Like,
opening for Warcraft because I was hoping it's like that.
yeah, we like out of the 4 of us that were playing, the guy that was the raid boss, he knew what he was doing because he owned it. He was experienced.
Yeah.
One guy in the group had played it once or twice before, and the other 2 we had never seen it before. So we were very new. But holy shit, the camaraderie, the G in each other. Let's get it. One more boss to go. Woo! You know, we were fucking pumping it, and I was like,
And that's
man,
a
this
that's a
is sick.
sealed product.
Dude, that's a sealed
It's a
product.
board game.
Yeah, and we were just like,
I think.
And the guy would, the monster would do some big attack and I'd have some like, no, evasion, and I'm going to heal you, buddy. Get in there and fuck him up. It was sick. It was like, come on, man, let's go. It was so much fun. It was hell fun because you're in person. It's like, brought me back to like going to LAN cafes as a kid, and there was no fucking voice communication. You were yelling. You were yelling across the internet cafe to your mate. He's around the corner, shoot him in the fucking head. Someone stabs you in the knife in Counter-Strike. You're like, I'm going to get you outside. Like building up. Like, honestly, man, the cafes I went to when I was a kid was hectic.
Like,
you know what they were like in Parramatta? They were crazy.
There were stabbings
They were
in Parramatta.
Oh, it was nuts.
Like actual stabbings. That's why they shut them down.
It was nuts. Even all the one. Anyway, I had so much fun. They weren't violent. It was all shit talk.
That's the title of this episode.
It was all
Told
smack.
Timmy gets stabbed at a LAN cafe.
Look, short story, but like I met some of my first friends who played local game store at a LAN cafe, and that's how we met each other, was swearing at each other.
Yeah.
Literally, I'd like headshot somebody in this game of CS. 5 minutes later, they're like, "You fucking cocklord, why you keep shooting me?" And I'm like, "Okay, who are you?" And then
and you'd have like people go, "Who's camping? Who's camping over there?" And it's just, oh my god, the memories. But even with the real time strategies. They were fun that, you yell things out and, everyone, go left, send forces up here, blah, blah, blah. There was all this collaboration. And you were staring at the screen like yelling.
Yes.
And you all could hear each other's voices and pick it up. Yeah. And that's what it kind of felt like, the nostalgia, right? Yeah. I got this real sense of nostalgia playing this PvE game. Yeah. And it's like a game that have no love for.
Yeah.
Never played it in my life, but just the experience factor alone.
Commander doesn't feel like that. Like
no,
watching
not
Commander,
at all.
there's still people get the feeling that they're trying to spike it.
Yeah.
Like it's not purely social, you know what I mean?
Well, Commander, I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to team up with you to kill a boss.
Yeah.
It's me versus you.
I hope they get it right in the sense that you give me a box, I can gift it to a friend who doesn't play.
Yeah.
Explain the rules quickly. It's got the 4 decks, 4 heroes, and then the boss is easy, and everything's easy but challenging enough that it's fun. You end up with some nervous mode, but then I hope that it's still okay. I want to actually upgrade this. Okay. It says to get to level 2, you got to have 1 legendary equipment. Fuck, what's that? Go online. Ooh, tunic. That looks sick. Yeah. Shit, it's $200. All right, now we're getting. You know what I mean? Like, I hope it leads to the game growing.
Well, just playing devil's advocate, I knew you'd love it. But like the idea, though, I think of PvE and these other formats is, I think it'll attract a player base that isn't super competitive, but likes that collaboration, or just want to pick up the game and just play it real quick.
And just when you can be a bit of a kid and yell stuff out and just go hurrah, hurrah, have your popcorn, couple beers, be your friend, or whether it's in a store, and you can just chill out and just, we can pause. Okay, everyone pause. We're going to go turn the snags on the Barbie. Yep, sweet. We're going to sit down, have a feed.
Well, they've confirmed that. They have confirmed that publicly.
What?
You'll be able to return to a game a month later.
Yeah, perfect.
Which sounds like D&D. Sounds like you've kept some stuff in a book.
Yeah.
We were here. This is what we all had. Maybe put the decks back in the same box.
Well, I mean, maybe there's levels or something like that.
Yeah,
like
but
bosses and
I'd love a little Scoopy at Auckland calling a little nugget of something.
I think they're quite far off from it. That's why. I think they're.
But they've said
working on it.
2023.
Well, they said that for a few things that might not happen in 2023. They can only do their best.
Hey, Q4,
at the end of the day,
Q4 2023.
I'm pretty sure their priorities are still the same they've always been. Organized play, releasing sets that are balanced. We know that their sets are ready for the year. Everything else, more classic battles, more blitz decks, like all of that, I think always takes a second. It's got to be second for them. You know what I mean? If a set needed more testing, I don't think they're putting resources into PvE till that's ready.
Now that is where you could really do some fun with some, like we were talking about
celebs,
content creation.
Oh yes.
Imagine some fun content we could do with PvE.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Have you seen? So there's
it would be fun.
The pit. What are they called? They were, yeah, Ultimate Device. The format. They were on the official page. Did you watch their video?
I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
I just don't like Ultimate Pit Fight.
But that's
it doesn't intrigue me.
That's what was interesting about it, because like 2 couples, and because they're just playing for fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun to watch.
Okay,
'Cause
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's that. It's the yelling. It's like, oh, and then, one of them is still on like full life at the end because they keep like, I think it might have been Yoji. So the whole game, he's like putting ward out, passing, and then taking damage, but then not taking damage. So everyone liked him, didn't want to kill him, but then he wins because he was everyone's friend. I'm not that into it either because I feel like, same as Commander, from what I hear, it just takes one person with a super overpowered deck or like.
Well,
I think
you guys might need to explain Ultimate
Sure.
Pit Fight for me because I don't fully. I haven't looked.
It's
at
Commander.
But
We didn't have to explain the whole thing.
But is it like Gladiator where like they're in the arena and it's 2 versus 2? No. Or is it like 4 people?
No, it's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You can only attack left and right.
Okay.
But remember, you only draw at the end of your turn, so it's very easy if there's 4 or 5. If everyone attacks you at once, you
the
just
game's
die.
just what I've heard from people. The game's just not really built to hold that mechanic well. But now people are saying the rules are being tweaked and maybe it's a bit better experience. But for the most part, the people I know that have played it think it's pretty
You know what's funny
subpar.
about this? Like this exact thing. None of the stores are supporting it.
Yeah.
So like,
I was
see
gonna
how
say,
we're like,
we should play it. We should play it. Yeah. Okay.
No, but better than that too. It's like, I've asked stores who are smaller in the community, like they only get a few players. I'm like, no one's doing UPF. Do UPF. Yeah. Eventually, you'll just have your own community. And it probably isn't even any of us that are local, but it's like people who drive an hour to play the game type they want if you're the only one doing it.
Of course.
But also, they don't like, if I walked into a store and he had 8 UPF decks and you can't even play your own, you just turn up.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to play Merchant.
Yeah.
And it's commoner. Doesn't matter. Like a store doesn't need to spend a lot of time. Just build the decks. And next time I turn up, go, guys, turn up an hour early. We're going to fire UPF. Yeah. I'll come. Like I'll go, but because it didn't cost. Like right now, if we wanted to play UPF today, we're going to have to go find some Blitz decks, figure out that they're actually going to be fun to play in UPF because my normal deck is not geared for UPF. Like it's designed to kill you, one person. It's not designed to heal and potions and set up. Do you know what I mean? Like in UPF, there's also no ban list. So if I want to go super powerful, there's decks like I can play Chain with no bans. But I can play Seeds. I can play Drone.
Because it reminds me of like 2v2 World of Warcraft back in the day where like one person's a tank and the other person's a damage dealer. I'm like, if you can attack and defend for each other, I mean, that makes it for an interesting dynamic.
PvE could be... I hope PvE goes down the route of tank healer, like that stuff, the dungeon crawler.
I just think PvE is a great avenue to introduce new people to the game. Yeah. Because it's so easy for me to say to my significant other or a neighbor, a mate, someone from the
board game.
From the dog park or somewhere. I can just say, hey mate, going to my friend's house tonight. We're playing this card game. It's a co-op.
Pizza,
we're gonna have some beers, and then we're going to sit down and they're going to learn how to play Flesh and Blood. Just naturally, organically playing this PvE game because we're all going to help. We're all going to be like,
the
hey,
story
this is how
writes
it works.
itself.
Bang, bang,
because
bang.
if I played that right now with my family, right, PvE, we had fun because we play board games. We play Catan and Monopoly and Risk. Yeah. And then if we played a board game style Fab, and then they go, oh, so this is the card game you go play, and you went to the US for. Yeah. Wait, there's $1 million a year in prize money. Yeah. This game, we go, same mechanics. Like you got to get better than you just did. Like it's like playing a shooting game co-op, like Borderlands. Like it's the same mechanics. You got to shoot at the head, but now it's like me versus you. They go, oh, let's try that. But suddenly, if they feel like. The story writes itself because really what competitive play is the aspiration of I could. Yeah. Like a lot of us that played Counter-Strike and stuff used to play for fun. Nowadays, like if you're good enough, you're sponsored, you stream, there's millions of dollars in prize pool. You will get, that's the grassroots. Like 99% of people never will win Worlds, but they can win an armory, they can win a gold foil, they win a...
But I mean, I think it's the camaraderie of practicing, playing in events with the community, that sort of stuff.
Also, I think it'll bring communities together. Like if all you do is every armory is you're killing each other. Yeah. But then once a month or once every fortnight, you meet up to just play PvE, and it's purely for fun. No one brings their A grade deck. It's
100%.
It's your A grade to beat this boss. And I've said this before. I hope they make it competitive in like some sort of leaderboard. Like actually. the fastest time was turn 2 in Taiwan because like the guy just went off with, it was like double Kano. They just went off. Do you know what I mean? Like you get some people holding records. Like you could go to the leaderboard and go, what's the quickest time this boss ever got killed? It was 1 turn. Yeah. Or like imagine like you kill a boss turn 0.
People like, you know, I'm
like,
sure
I want people to break it. I want people to go, oh yeah, we actually, the weakness of this boss was you go triple Kano and a merchant or something stupid. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah. I did it yesterday. As an example, I played Dromai.
Yeah.
And I stole someone's potion. Then fucking drew a Command and Conquer. It's a red line deck. Usually I have to pitch for the Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
But I just 30 damage turn because I stole his potion. It's like breaking the game. Like I'm not supposed to have a blue in the deck, but I have one now. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Exciting stuff. This year, like people are saying it, but this is like the first full calendar year they'll have with no COVID, no restrictions, 50 battle hardens.
Yes.
Also, like new like your relationship's newer with them than Channel Fireball, like new TOs, new big events.
So, I mean, I guess I'm on the inside a little bit. Like for you guys, what's your prediction for 2023? What do you want to see for next year? Like
I'm excited. So there'll be 2.
You don't have to go conservative. You can go completely outlandish.
Man, what do I want? I want Doro to be S tier. No, I think the most exciting thing is everything they haven't announced. So we know 2 draft sets are coming. We know outside. Yes. Great. That's all exciting, but you're expecting that. Yeah. It's seeing what the Professor product is going to be. It's seeing PvE if it comes out. Yeah. That shit's anything new. Anything new. Even classic battles. I'd love to see like 4 new classic battles. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think the Professor's product is quite unique. Like, haven't you really seen that in the market before? Like, where somebody's collabing on a product. It'd be interesting to see.
What he just did with GameGenix is really impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's got... Because he is a gamer at heart and he's a critical thinker at heart. I know it'll be good. I know it'll be good.
Well, I don't think he'll allow his name to be on it.
That's what I mean. Like, it'll be... Yeah. But it's also added resources. They're not paying him, right? Yeah. It's like they've got a contract partner on this product. Yeah. Just extra resources, extra set of eyes. I don't think it'll fail. It'd be good. How about you, Paul?
I'd like to see the player base grow by 30%. That sounds like a tall order, but
it's all achievable.
I think it's achievable, and I think it's needed. Like all the things we've spoken about in this episode, they're all underpinned by player growth. Yeah. Whether it's starting your own website, selling single, doing anything, tournaments, battle hardens, incorporating holidays, getting movie stars, PvE, everything we're speaking about on this podcast today is literally all underpinned by player growth. Yep. Without players, without the growth in player numbers, that doesn't execute.
We've said this before on the pod, and you probably have. You can actually do this without permission. There needs to be way more learn to plays. It should be once a month in these big stores, and it should be fully helped by LSS. Like it shouldn't. I don't think LSS should be waiting. I think it should be at least push advertise to your shops, going, here's the learn to play kit. Yep. Register for it once a month. We'll send it to you 100%. And push, because we did a learn to play locally. 3 brand new players, probably 8 newish players, where it was low pressure, not an armory. We're just like talking about the game.
And that's a huge increase.
By the way, it's the only learn to play I've ever been to, which is fucking crazy.
If you only have an armory that's consistently getting 12 to 14 players and you get 3 brand new players turn up to a lot. That's a huge percentage increase.
That's what I'm saying. The actual gap is LSS. They have this top heavy focus. Yep. Pro players, Michael Hamilton. It's all fucking great. Even the content you see around, not like a big chunk of it is geared to that. There's still new player content. Jackie's doing great. Sloop does great videos. Yeah. We play best. We do best. Whatever. I can't fucking remember. There's a lot of like. But
lads, big shout out to them.
The real way to learn Flesh and Blood is you're a Magic player. There's a big banner. You go, learn to play free entry tomorrow at 7. That's how you grow the game. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, wait, I get a free deck.
Yeah,
because Magic does that. You get a free deck when you go to the Learn to Play, I believe. I don't understand why this isn't a monthly thing. I think every store 12 times a year. Yeah, getting a learner. Like, if I was a store owner, I wouldn't be fucking asking permission. I wouldn't be waiting. I would be losing money on it, but because I know if I get 2-3 new players a month, That by the way, 2-3 players a month is 30 to 50 players a year. 30, 50 players a year is actually more than any store I've been to has on a weekly basis anyway.
I always say to store owners, once again, it's the same kind of conversation with stores. I think of how much money I've spent over the years on TCGs. If you get one of me in the game, mate,
It's
you
a
can,
couple of $1 million in
you,
10 years.
You've got more than enough money to. You shouldn't be complaining.
But
about
again, you don't need 100 players. You need 10.
Yes.
10 more than you have now.
Correct.
Is more than likely double your turnover on that particular product.
100%.
Yeah.
But if you're a player, you should talk to your local game store. Have that kind of communication where if you want to play Flesh and Blood, learn to play. Any store that comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to do more learn to play," I'm like,
What do you want?
what do you need? What do you need? Right? Because we understand it's the lifeblood of the game. For us, we're going to spend some time in February on the Taipei Game Show, doing a lot of learn to play for that. The guys in Vietnam, AMA and Happy Box, those guys are going nuts, bringing on new fans in Vietnam. So the stores that get it, they're doing it, right? Like they're not waiting for me to do it or LSS to do it. They're going to do it anyway. And even for us, it's like we know we need to bring more and more fans into the game and bring them in the stores. So if your store isn't doing it, once again, that's the basic stuff that we talk about before, where we're like, well, are you advertising events? Are you doing? If you're not doing learn to play
if you're
events,
not every week teaching someone to play the game,
Yeah.
even over the counter, grab the classic battle, go, this is what it looks like.
yeah. But even stores even understand, and they know. So I'm not preaching to saying anything new, but people fall out of the game for all kinds of reasons:
Yes.
family, life.
There's an attrition
unis.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah, so you need
Or people
to
stop for a set or two. They go, I didn't like the meta, and they stop playing for a bit.
100%. But so you need to fill that bucket up again of new players. And one of the other things too is the game is now getting to that age now, almost 3 years, where it's like there are players that have dropped off and they can come back.
Yeah.
And so you need to also...
We've had a few locally, yeah.
Yeah, you need to make sure that those players can re-enter, and a new set is a perfect way to do that because it's especially a draft set, right, where they can just play without having to pick up
and they
any
also
of the
end up picking up some cards.
And that's why historically Magic pre-release weekends always were the highest numbers in stores.
Yep.
It wasn't new players, it was returning players.
because they know the mechanics. They can draft the same as you can
It's
draft.
a great time to re-enter. Oh, it's a fresh standard,
Yeah.
fresh set. Let's come back.
And the other thing too is these decks that have gone to living legend status, once they have a home, do you know what I mean? These fans that may have exited because maybe their deck was obsoleted.
You might only be able to afford one deck.
and they'll be able to come back and do their thing.
I'm really looking forward to Living Legend format.
I
They
know.
haven't announced that. That might come in 2024. Who knows?
Don't worry,
But
I've already polished my Prism deck to make sure it comes back. But the
but they're releasing a new Light Illusionist this year regardless.
yeah, but there's some.
It might be Prism.
I know, but there's something special about your first deck, like your first
Sure.
CCs.
But it won't be the same Prism, even if it is Prism.
It'll be Star of the, they'll change the
Yeah, it'll be
text,
different
I'm sure.
ability though. But it could play completely different.
I think it's going to be all the ward
But you know
ward
what?
equipment and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'd
But-
be pretty sweet.
But this is the thing that'll make it so interesting is eras, because we always talk about eras in Magic where it's like Jace the Mind Sculptor in its time was the bomb, right? But the fact that you get to play Prism against Bravo against all these other
Yeah.
decks, but with all the new cards as well, if you
Yes.
can play with all the new cards and there's no ban list, it's like it's
you
gonna
know,
be like,
Living Legend being the Wild West.
Yeah,
is the way
yeah,
to do
it's-
it. Yes, no bans.
yeah, no bans, don't touch it, just let
you
it
can
go.
play Chain with Duskblade. Just let people go ham.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you shouldn't be complaining. It's not the real game. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you picked the format. Of
Oh no,
course.
I think we'll see. Look, I have no doubt. I don't want to put a number on it. Let's just say 5 years, maybe 6 years. We'll see Living Legend callings,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Well,
format callings, main event.
I don't.
Main event.
think so?
Yep,
of
100%.
course. Yeah.
Well, I guess
100%.
because it's like it's a cool meta to solve, isn't it?
Oh, just
It's like you got this deep play.
There's-
Yeah, it's
Just like how we see modern GPs for Magic,
Yeah.
or back did we had the occasional legacy ones as well.
that'd be sick.
Yeah,
there's always a little piece of deep down that wants to watch the world
Yes,
burn.
yes.
Like watch these decks.
That's
just
why when they
destroy
announced
the
Blitz
world.
for Worlds, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Again, Hayden would have top 8'd if there wasn't Blitz because he
Yeah.
went 3-2-3 in Blitz.
Yeah.
And he got pretty
Blitz,
unlucky.
Blitz made and break
But
people.
that's funny because sorry, Hayden. It's funny to me because it's watching the world. It's spectating
Yeah,
that
of
is
course.
funny.
Yeah.
You having to play under those conditions
Oh, of course.
is not very fair. But for spectating, it makes it way more. And yes, I'd love to see like someone's Dusk Blade at 15.
Yeah.
Because it's like never should have been printed, but hey, you wanted to play Living Legend.
Of course, you stepped into the arena, like watching Bravo and Prism and these decks off the chain, like just unleashed. There's a little bit of fun in that.
Ball Lightning Briar.
Yeah, exactly.
But no bans would be crazy.
Yeah.
But there's some decks you just can't deck out. Like you couldn't, you know what I mean? They could block you all game, and when you're out of cards, they could just keep pitching, attacking, pitching. Yeah. Well, it's been 2 hours ish.
Yeah.
Any last words? See you in New Zealand.
Yes,
you're going to be there.
I'm trying to free up my schedule to be there, but it makes sense. I'll try to, because I actually head back to Taiwan like on the 1st or 2nd week of January.
Okay.
So I got to be back in February to come out and check out the calling. But it'll be good to catch up with the LSS team. They've actually hired quite a few new guys, so it'll be good to see those guys. And
we're
catch
hoping
up
to
with
set
you
up
guys.
Funder there.
Yeah.
Might even end up recording an episode with you in the
third
LSS
person.
office.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a couple of months away. We'll have more stuff to talk
We'll start
about.
putting the Funder schedule together. The run sheet for Funder. We'll start putting.
We just
got
to sit down for half an hour. We'll get it.
We'll nut it out.
Yeah. Anything from you?
No, it's just, hey, Merry Christmas to all of our viewers.
Well,
we'll do, this will be our last episode before Christmas, and then we'll probably do we'll resume next week in the new year.
I'm not super busy.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do, that'll be like a New Year's episode.
Yeah.
More than likely, yeah.
What's the date next Wednesday?
I have no
John?
idea.
We can do a 2023 New Year's list.
Next Wednesday is the 28th.
Okay, all right.
No, we might have another New Year's Eve episode. It'll come out on the 28th, 29th.
Yeah, okay. So
if we, I mean, guys, it's a crazy time of year. That's why last week was a no. We're doing our best. Also, a lot of our resources are going to get this show on the road too, because I mean, we love having repeat guests. Phil will be back. Hayden will be back at some point. Like, we have great people to talk to locally, but it's super cool when we get like people that are from a different country. That also, like, the professor was insane that we got.
Yeah.
This is someone everyone recognizes, but you're not going to get him on a video call. It's not the same.
No, you want him in person.
A couple of, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of other podcasts got him on after us.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No.
We had him hungover in that chair. 2 coffees deep.
I was right there with him.
Yeah.
Trust me.
2 coffees deep.
Yeah. But no. So Merry Christmas to everyone. We really appreciate, this is our first year doing this podcast. We've received tremendous support in the comments, private messages you sent to John and myself. We really, this is the first time John and me have done anything like this, being podcast hosts. And John, thanks for all your efforts behind the scene.
You
and
too.
Thanks to the guests. Thanks to all the guests that have joined us to give up their time to be here in the ivory tower of Fluke's.
If we do an episode next week, we'll be dressed up.
Yeah.
We'll have some Santa hats or something.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Sure.
But no, it's been a hell of a year. Let's keep the momentum going into 2023. And yeah.
And to help out the tour, Timmy, what can all the fans do to help support the channel?
Subscribe, hit that bell, stick that thumb up your... No, don't do that. But no.
Go subscribe to the Tall Timmy. He's not far from 2K.
Very close.
I think I'm going to hit 3,000 before the end of the year. I have the secret weapon. Well, I've got a case of alpha.
Okay.
That's arriving, actually. It's probably downstairs.
Okay, sweet.
The courier said today. They're going to sell the packs at under retail.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
So that particular stream might just go off.
Okay.
Damn.
And I might do it Christmas Eve.
Maybe I should treat myself for a Christmas present.
I'm doing 169 AUD, which is under 4,000 a box. AUD, which is like right now they sell for 3,500 US.
Sweet.
Yeah, but
Alright.
when I get it cheap, I sell it. I try not to like. I also don't want to pay tax, man. Like, last thing I want is get taxed for my
Alright.
card shit.
So
you know what I
for
mean?
Anyone of the IRS or works for the IRS, you need to...
No, the ATO for me.
ATO.
I declare it.
Okay.
It goes in my bank account, but I'm not trying to make like $1,000, $2,000 a box or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, you should buy some alpha packs. Do you have any pink strip cards?
Yes, I do have.
Good, yeah.
But I think it's from you guys from early when I first started. So, and then I've just kind of kept
A lot of
them
people
because-
have never, like, a lot of people buy the packs that don't even own a single pink strip. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
super easy to get.
Yeah.
But,
I love my pink foils.
Yeah. Pink belows, we call them.
Yeah.
Pink belows.
But you know what we'll do to help try to push the numbers? We'll do some giveaways and stuff for Auckland calling and stuff through you guys as well.
Look, we're game.
yeah, we'll want to do giveaways. Massive. Our other, returning guest Phil is going to be there in Auckland. Correct?
Yeah.
He'll be there.
I'm sure I'll pay his ticket if I have to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the plan
No,
is...
I'm sure he is.
The plan is, maybe Phil, John and myself will do some Team Blitz Challenge event.
Yeah, we
at
might
the
do it at a
calling.
store the night before
Yeah.
the calling, or we might, if we can
Do
get
it
some
maybe at the
support from
calling.
LSS, do like a side event. Like, I'm not against...
On the Friday.
I'm not against the TO selling the tickets for the event, right? But it's like, you verse us, you guys call us, go, okay, we got a team that wants to verse you, and there's something on the line.
Yeah.
Like, let's say it's $50 entry for the team, and then they get a box if they win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, if we win, they get nothing. Like, no, because do you know what I mean? It'll be fun because Team Blitz is really fun. You, me, and Phil, the banter will be next level. Like, you wouldn't even care if you win or not, really, by the time we're done. Because we will roast you to your face. Phil will rap battle you to your face. It'll be quite fun. We haven't even asked Phil yet, but I'm sure he'll be down.
I'm sure you can dress up in your have your bandana on and
Or
play.
the Akubra.
No, listen, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna have a team outfit. Don't worry, it's gonna be. It'll be lit. It'll be lit.
Well, that's it. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, and do subscribe if you're still here. Definitely, we'll do something big at 1,000. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, but have a safe Christmas. Take care. Spend time with your loved ones, and we'll see you just before New Year's.
Sure. All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.